right, beautiful coffee beans. We've got quite the discussions, like I said last night. Although we got Miss Guthrie here on my shirt, I don't think this is all about the just in her case. Where is Mitch McConnell? Is the old kook dead? I don't know. And then we've got the lady, Miss Isabel Rose, on the run. How can this woman still be on the run, folks? And why is there only a $16,000 reward? Now, granted, $16,000 is a lot of money for somebody, right? But she's a murder suspect on the run. We have a large manhunt that's not like the large type of manhunt that it really should be for a woman that murdered a man and threw him in a shallow grave. And she's on the run. She's been on the run for weeks. What is going on here? Let's get her wrapped up. Let's get some real money out there. Nolan Wells, heartbreak, just completely heartbroken over the Nolan Wells case and trying to figure out what's going on. We're going to kind of get back into it. We know that there are some nuances that just came out with the autopsy, didn't really explain anything, gave us a little more questions than answers. We've got Nancy Guthrie case. Now that we know what's in that first ransom, I think all the professionals out there are kind of saying, look, we didn't believe these ransom notes to begin with. We don't believe them now. Now all of a sudden everybody's jumping on the bandwagon and vocalizing that. Well, here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, we've been telling you guys these things and explaining why these ransom notes did not bode with reality long before we got to this point. And then lastly, we are going to revisit a case that we have not touched in a while. We were meaning to touch yesterday, but we had technical issues plaguing our show. So it was put off to today. And that is Austin Drummond, a man that should have never been out of prison. He has been in prison since he was a kid, a teenager. He was facing attempted murder charges from bringing in a firearm while he was in prison. And they still let him out of prison to await those charges, which he is being tried right now for. If he would have been held without bond on attempted murder charge, these 4 victims of his would still be alive. So yeah, are we saying in more ways than one? Let's get into it. Good morning, folks.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
So grab your beverage. Come on in while we start breaking all these ugly cases down, finding out when's justice coming.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club.
Well, good morning. Good morning. You know, we talk a lot on this show about, uniting our fractured country, right? We've got this horrible country that's just fractured. We got a lovely country, but we're fractured, right? We're fractured. We're wondering what the heck is going on. If you're a Democrat, you feel like your party has been hijacked. If you're a Republican, you feel like your resident Democrat turned into, the devil. No offense. But very, very seldom do we ever have anything to unify on. Very, very seldom this day and age do we have an opportunity to unify. And I got to tell you, this morning we've got a very weird union, right? We got a very weird union. Who would ever think that we would start working and sounding the alarms together, right? Like the Democrats and the Republicans. Don, 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 don. I got a button for that. Everybody needs to feel their head. Are we taking our temperature? Let's take our temperature. Are we feeling okay out there? I don't think we're feeling okay out there. What? AOC and Bullhorn Betty are screaming the same stuff? What? Right? What? But that's not. Oh, I gotta check my temperature. I don't know if I'm feeling well today. Is me and AOC? Are we on the same page? Maybe today is a great day to go out and get a lottery ticket. Is it okay? Should we look up in the sky to see if pigs are flying? I'm just wondering, are pigs flying today? Has hell froze over? I don't know. We have to put this one in the books. I don't know if we'll ever have a time in our history on the Bullhorn Betty channel where me and AOC are going to be like on the same page. I think that this is going to be the one and done of history. I don't know, but I just kind of think that this might be the one and done in history. But me and AOC are wanting to know, is Mitch McConnell dead or is he alive? It's been 40 days. Nobody's seen the man. We've seen some questionable photos, to say the least. Can we agree with that? Is it True Crime Justices? Whose birthday is it? True Crime Justice or True Crime Junkie? I think it's True Crime Justice. Did we have a birthday in the house? Did I see somebody have a birthday? True Crime Justice? Is it your birthday today? Is it your real birthday or is it your Bullhorn Betty birthday? It's your real birthday? Is it your real birthday? Calm down. Happy birthday to True Crime Justice. Happy birthday. We'll sing you a little birthday tune. I'm not ready to sing you a birthday tune, but we'll go ahead and get it on out the way so we can get started with our day. So everybody, please join me for a little birthday celebration for our girl, True Crime Justice. Go check her page out, right? It's her birthday. And we're going to party for her birthday because we are the love machine of the YouTube streets. So stay with me. Okay, let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, True Crime Justice. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss True Crime Justice. We love you being part of the coffee club and the Bullhorn Betty clan. Should we call it clan? I mean, we were called racist. at one point in time. I don't know if we want to be called the Bullhorn Betty Clan. I don't like the army, right? Everybody's got an army. We're not an army. We're like love machines. We're like little love sponges. Okay? You guys know about Bubba the Love Sponge? We're like a love sponge, okay? We're like a love sponge with some porcupines on it. Like they come out depending on if you're our cup of tea. We're thorny. We're thorny love sponges. Okay, my dry humor sucks. Oh, good gracious. Okay, guys, we really do have some things to go over. We do have some things to go over. All stuff aside, okay? I'm still having palpitations that AOC is questioning the same things that Bullhorn Betty's questioning. But hey, whatever. So the lengthy absence of Senator Mitch McConnell from public view has sparked widespread speculation about the condition of the Kentucky Republican, while fueling calls for change in the health disclosure requirements to which members of Congress are subject. I think there needs to be a provision that if you're missing more than 10 days, you gotta get a doctor's note, okay? I'm sorry, folks, if you are of elderly status and you just disappear and you are a senator of the United States of America and we need all of our senators, aye or nay, we don't have the ability in this divided country right now to have anybody missing work. Okay, especially when you're being paid $200,000 to show the bless up, and you guys have already missed almost over 40 days at this point. And people said that he was needing chest compressions and that he is being left on life support just to stay alive so he could be a senator. Like, this is some really disgusting, swampy shit that we're hearing behind the scenes. Okay. If this man is dead, he needs to be laid to rest. He deserves dignity. He deserves dignity. And if these yahoos, this is why the deep state is the deep state, because none of our politicians are really our politicians. That's what I've been trying to educate you on. That's what I've been trying to educate you folks on. I've been trying to educate you guys. That's why I keep telling you about these. I want to show you guys something. All these people here are not getting, what did I tell you? The people that show up to your front door are the ones that need your vote. Now, granted, me and Byron, he won't debate. I've got a big problem with that. I don't know if I'm going to be putting a circle for governor this year. But out of all of these, I'm just going to point out of all of these, this is the only one that was on my door. That means that this person and his team were out in our area door knocking. That means he wants to meet the people that is voting for him. Now, granted, he's not debating. I would have loved to have met his person. I should call him. I'm angry with him. But at the end of the day, the only one that showed up at my front door, right? The only one that showed up at my front door out of tens of thousands of dollars worth of advertisements. These people here are not who I'm voting for. This was a waste of money. This only pointed out who's developer backed, who's special interest backed, who has PAC money, who are the slimy swamp creatures. Well, they're right here. These are the slimy swamp creatures. So Mitch McConnell has been leaving Kentuckians out in the cold for quite some time. McConnell has not been publicly seen for weeks. He has missed every roll call vote in the Senate since June 11th. Every single one. Guys, it's been well over a month. We're at July 25th. We're about to roll over. We're going to be missing him for 60 solid days. And I'm hearing that they're only keeping him alive. Even Radar. Now, Radar is a salacious, it's almost like an Inquirer, okay? It really is. It's almost like the Inquirer. And we even have an article in Radar about this. Mitch McConnell's hometown newspaper publishes scathing pre-obituary weeks after Senator 84 was rumored to be brain dead in the hospital. We've all been hearing that he's brain dead. That's what we're all hearing. And that's why it's so concerning, because we thought at this point they were going to tell us that he's gone, and they haven't. And so we were looking into this, and we're realizing that we believe that the Chinese Communist Party, which is his wife, she's linked to them, and she flew as soon as he fell ill and was brain dead. She flew to China, so she talked to her handlers in China, and then came back and did a faux picture of him sitting in a rehab facility, that one with the red shirt, the red plaid shirt. Well, we've been hearing since he was wheeled out. We heard he was brain dead at that day, that they determined he was brain dead. So we've been hearing that they've been keeping him alive solely to try to keep him in place of senators, to derail some of the stuff. That's what we're hearing. And then, of course, with China being involved in this, we're kind of seeing, and at the end of the day, he works for the people. We've been paying him for many years. He does not own his health anymore. The public owns his health. Anybody in Congress, they should not be privy to HIPAA. If you're working for we the people, we have a right to know about your health. You don't, granted, you don't have to give up that privacy, but nobody's forcing you to run for office either. I think that something has got to give here. I don't know what's going on. I know we have a lot of family in Kentucky. I know we were kind of coming in here and trying to be a little funny, about people being on the same page and uniting over a common goal, which is trying to figure out what's going on. This is the salacious video. I don't believe this video. I think this was doctored. I think this was from another time previously that they're using, and people just don't know. AOC, McConnell should be absolutely resign if he can't give another health update. So AOC is now, screaming from the rooftops, whereas McConnell, like I said, you know what? For us to be uniting with AOC, she's one of the people that hijacked the Democrat Party. For us to be kind of on board with her, I mean, pigs are flying. So if you guys have not gone out and got your scratch off or your daily lottery ticket, today might be the day. I don't think we're going to have another day like we have today. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. Okay. So good morning, everybody. I'm Bullhorn Betty. What are we talking about today? We're trying to play Where is Mitch McConnell, right? Where is Mitch McConnell? We believe there's a cover-up going on. We believe he's brain dead, and that the Chinese Communist Party is working to try to keep his body alive by artificial means, even though he can never make another decision for this country again. I truly believe the reports we heard are accurate. Now, I don't know 100%. I'm not there. I'm not in the hospital. If I had an opportunity to sneak in the hospital, even if I had to get arrested to find out if Mitch McConnell was alive or dead, I would do it. I would attempt to do it. I would probably go down in a blazing, like I'd go straight to jail. I wouldn't even get on the floor. But if I had an opportunity, if there's any nurses, doctors, I will keep you confidential. If you need to speak, if you want to leak, the best way, and even if it's not to me, maybe you want to leak to somebody higher up, like in national media. The best way I can tell you to do that is proton mail. Proton mail, can it be tracked? It can be tracked with limited parameters. But if you want to try to get some information or leak some information to someone, that's the best way to do it. Go to a computer lab. Go into a computer, don't use your computer, set up a proton mail, send out the information, leak the information. Is Mitch McConnell dead or is he alive? Is he being kept alive by artificial means? They're saying that he's in therapy, but yet he's never gone to a therapeutic. I've been monitoring this, and his team, because he's a senator, so he has a security detail. His security detail has been at that hospital for almost well over a month, over 40 days. They're trying to convince us that he's going to a rehab center. He is not at a rehab center. What they were showing you, the picture of Mitch McConnell, would have appeared to be in a rehab center. He is still at that hospital. So people are lying about the condition of Mitch McConnell. He is not in a rehab hospital. He's not in a rehab therapy. He is up there in a private room, most likely taking an entire floor because they can't have any security threats or anybody finding out what happened. So I guarantee they probably shut down an entire floor of that hospital specifically for Mitch McConnell, or at least half a wing. I almost guarantee it. I almost guarantee it. So if you know anything, if you've been hearing anything through the grapevine, leak. Okay? We will protect you. We will protect you. I promise you, we will protect you. The whole entire union will protect you. You will have a lot of protection. And I'm not saying that on Bullhorn Betty. I don't have those type of means to protect you. I'm telling you, you will be protected. You will be protected for leaking. So leak. How is Mitch McConnell? We're going to move quickly through this because I think we spent a lot of time on Miss Nancy Guthrie's case, which we should. She's a missing grandmother. She was ripped out of her bed. She's a disadvantaged elderly individual that can't do for herself. This is where we, the people, step up to the plate and take care of the people that can't take care of themselves, right? Does she come from a place of means? She does. That doesn't change the factors of this case. Somebody went into her home in the middle of the night and ripped this poor lady out of her bed. She couldn't see, she couldn't hear, she probably didn't know what was going on, and she was battered. How do we know she was battered? Because there's blood, her blood, dripping out of that house. So she was battered. And the thought of what this poor little lady went through is unnerving for many of us. But we spent so much time on these stupid ransom notes that all of us in the pits of our souls knew were fake. We knew they were bullshit. And we were allowing all of these experts to shame us and wag their fingers at us until we started looking at this from a ransom note aspect. And we should never have been forced to do that because it was horseshit. And the experts should have done exactly what we did. Compared the evidence to the reality of ransoms. We did that over and over and over and over again. And our answer was the same each and every time we ran the story. There's no possibility that these ransom notes could be legitimate. Yet because of the sensitivity of Miss Savannah Guthrie, because of the control and the pressure from the politicians that Savannah got involved, forced them to look at every aspect. And because her brother told her it's her fault, she absolutely believed it was her fault and would not accept anything other than that. Now, is it her fault? Is she the reason? Is she the catalyst because of why the reason her mom is missing? I don't know. And neither do any of you. But what I do know is that I don't know what happened. And I have to study every aspect and every element of this case because I'm not an expert. So in order for me to understand what are the elements of ransom, I've got to look into that. I've got to study that. I've got to look at other cases that had ransom as the motivating factor. And everything that was legitimate in the last few years were not in our country. They were overseas. And they were legitimate. But one of the things in actions that were notated was the fact that many of them didn't want law enforcement involved. They didn't want the case being well or widely known or widely spread. And that was and I brought that up many times. They don't want cops involved. That's not the type of case this is. They want to get paid and they want to get on their way. They don't want to deal with law enforcement. So typically, ransom people is a smash and grab type of crime. They don't care how they get the person. It's if they make a spectacle, they make a spectacle. It doesn't matter. They're in there to rip the person out of the house and get them into a safe location under their control as quickly as possible. That's the name of the game when you're doing a ransom, is getting the victim and getting them under control as quickly as possible. What we saw in Miss Guthrie's case was anything of that. We didn't see them moving quickly. As a matter of fact, we saw them taking their time. almost an hour. 41 minutes of what we know, what law enforcement has released to us was 41 minutes of this man sitting around the house. Does that sound like a smash and grab? Does that sound, I mean, just the beginning of this. Everything that I read and studied with the elements of ransom, just out the gate of this, it said that this was not a ransom. This was something totally different. And so then you go down of, well, what could this be? You know, what could this be? If it's not a ransom, if they didn't take her for money and they didn't take her to rob her, what is this? Well, we have to look at all the other things that go along with this type of crime that don't have to do with ransom, strangers, or burglary. Right? So what are we looking at here? Well, we don't know what we're looking at. Let's just be very clear. I want to be very clear with everybody. Even to this moment, we still don't know what we're looking at. But, we can reasonably deduct a few things. Based on the video, one thing we can say is that guy was nonchalant. I think everybody can say he was not a very sophisticated person. He did do some good planning, but he wasn't like a 007 agent, right? He was more sloppy. He obviously knows how to take care and plan something and stick to the details of those plans. It sounds like whatever he did on the 11th was planning out on what he was going to do on the 1st. I don't know what the 11th was, but I have to believe that the 11th appearance of him was something different than what we think it is. Like, I feel like we feel that he was scoping out, that this was so well planned that they went out there the first time and scoped this out, this home out. I don't believe that. I actually believe something a little different with that first visit. I feel like that first visit was the burglary. I feel like that first visit, that house was targeted. This is the day that the neighbor, the female neighbor that interviewed with Brian Enton, talked about seeing a man in street clothes, and she knew that it was on January 11th because her birthday's on January 8th, and she remembers how many days after her birthday. So she had a milestone, her birthday, that kind of notated the time and the proximity in time to when that happened. So she was able to very vividly remember exactly what transpired on January 11th earlier that day. And earlier that day, she stated, actually, let me see if we've got that. I think we do have Brian Enton and the neighbor. Here it is. Give me a second. Is Lisa B always in the chat? Lisa, are you in the chat? I just want to tell you, I didn't touch any buttons this morning. Okay? I thought you'd like to know. I thought you might like to know a little tidbit. I figured if Lisa's in the chat. No, she's not in the chat. She'll catch this on the replay crew. She'll catch it on the replay crew. That's too funny.
Baseball hat.
Okay, here it is. We've already got it right there where she's at, you know, because we've discussed this so many times with our audience about this neighbor, because this happened on, you know, several days after her birthday. Like I said, her birthday was on January 8th. And she saw this on January 11th. Now, January 11th is the single photo of the masked assailant without the backpack, and it appears he has a toolbox or tool bag. I feel like it's a cloth tool bag. I feel like I may even have something similar. Let me go grab it. Give me just a second, guys, and then we'll get into this. But I want you guys to see what I think I see in his hand. Hold on. is a lot more full than his, but this is what I'm thinking that we saw in his hand, something like this. But again, mine's much fuller. I got a lot of shit in it. But his wasn't as full as mine, but I this is kind of what he had his hand, but it was closed. It wasn't packed full like this. It was actually properly filled and properly zipped. But that's, in all fairness, that's really what I think that he had in his hand in that 11th photo. Let's look at it. Give me just a second. I ran all the way to the back. That was like literally in the back side of the house, and I had to go grab it, and so sorry about that. So let's listen to what she has to say about the assailant, and then we'll look at the photo, and you'll see that I think the reason why I'm pulling this one is I have a tool box and I have a tool bag. But when I looked at what he had in his hand, it looked clothy. It didn't look metally or plasticky. It looked clothy. So we'll get into those in just a second.
Got a pretty good view, and he was walking down the road, and I always see people and I think, oh, that's my friend Nora, or that's this person or that person. And I saw him and I was like, oh, that guy doesn't fit. So
and this was sometime around January 11th.
Yes. So
okay, now these are hoity-toity people, okay? And I'm sorry, you know what? If I'm in an upper scale community, I'm not going to fit. Okay, I'm Bullhorn Betty. Okay, I wear leggings, I wear shirts. Shirts have, sarcastic comments on it, telling you're pretty much brain dead, get out of my way. In all fairness, right? So, I mean, if I was in a hoity-toity community, I'm not going to be dressing like her. Okay, I mean, look at me. I'm in leggings. I'm in a tank top. I got a little throw over my my tank top because I don't blend in with the higher society. Do I have like gowns and evening gowns and stuff like that for? Yes, because I'm in politics, and yes, I do rub elbows with the higher class of society, and so you have to be prepared to. But I mean, could I dress? Of course, of course I do. But the point is me going into a community, I would not fit in a hoity-toity community. So I would be in street clothes, right? They'd be talking about me. They're like, oh well, this lady, man, she really didn't fit. Right? She was wearing street clothes. She wasn't one of us, right? So they know theirs. And I think everybody knows who's in their community and who's in their type of clique and stuff like that. Even on your own street, I think that there might be some cliquey. You might have the really snubby, snotty, stick your nose up at you type of neighbors, and you might have that Aunt Millie where she wants to help everybody, right? You just got a lot of different personalities. But she knew what it was. She knew that this wasn't this person she's never seen. Why? Because she's in her bathroom getting dressed this time of morning, every morning. This caught her attention because she's lived here for forever, and this doesn't normally happen. That's why it caught her attention.
So my birthday's January 8th. That's
Okay.
why I remember so well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And describe him again?
Well, he was in kind of street clothes, not shoes that you'd walk in, and he had a baseball hat really low, and he was kind of hunched over, and he was kind of looking around, and he just didn't fit. And he wasn't going terribly quickly like a normal person that's getting exercise. He was kind of going slowly, and when he walked by this street, he really took a long look at it. I noticed that.
And it was enough for you to remember to tell your husband. Yeah.
Yeah. It freaked me out. And I'm not one of those people to be super freaked out by that. But I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like when the FBI came?
So you guys got to hear, a little bit. I want to put that back because that's like the biggest important part of this whole, thing. So I'm going to keep it where it needs to be. So the next time we bring it up, we'll be right back where we are in this point. So again, we have Miss Guthrie and this assailant. So, And I think that this, oh yeah, I remember what I was going to do. I was going to look up the FBI photo, that FBI, but I don't think it was on him. I think it was on Kash Patel. Let's go to FBI Guthrie. Okay, it's Reuters, FBI Guthrie. Where's our FBI link? There it is. I don't think they have the. I think it's on Kash, but I don't wonder why they didn't put it on this. They don't have it on this. They don't have it on their main website. It's on Kash Patel's on X. I remember that. X.com. And then we'll go Kash Patel, Guthrie, and see if that'll help bring up something. Patel, P-P-A-T-E-L. Patel Guthrie. I know Kash Patel has it, but I don't know where it's at. Let's go just to Kash Patel's FBI page. I was hoping it would be right here, but it's not. There we go. We'll search his. At least I think it should be here, but I'm not seeing it. But he posts like every day, so this happened like 6 months ago, so it might be way further down in the... Yeah, it's majorly far. I'll have to go through his, but he's got the photo. Does anybody know... Let's see. Let's do this. Photo of Guthrie suspect without backpack. There we go. We'll find him. We'll get the image. It'll be easier than doing that. Okay, here it is. There it is. Right there. Right there. There it is. Get this up.
This morning, sources familiar with the
So, now you guys can see it. So, right here, see it in his hand? You can see he's holding something. You can see his hand's kind of, not right by his side like this hand is over here. And you can kind of see the shadow on his pants right here. And then you can kind of see a make out, and it looks like a tool bag right here being held in his hand. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? Let me know you guys see that. Put like a thumbs up, a yes, whatever you guys would like in the chat box. Oh, I see it. Okay. So that looks, it doesn't look metal to me. This, and I could be wrong, but metal would make a lot of noise. Now, we only have toolboxes in several styles, right? You can have a wood toolbox, a metal toolbox, or a plastic toolbox. There's not really a whole lot of toolboxes that you're going to get. And then they got little tool bags. And again, I got a lot of shit in my bag. It won't close. His looks like it closes, but it looks like something like this. And again, it's attributed to what? A construction site. It's contributed to a construction site. So and the reason why we're saying this is because we've always had this undertone of this guy being in some type of construction, and I even went as far as to say electrical, fiber optics, internet, something with lines, because he did something with those weeds where he did this, and that was something we did in the electrical in the electrical field. So I thought he had something to do with lines and, fiber optics, electrical wire, cable wire, something along those things. Yeah, he didn't have his backpack and he didn't have the holster, but it does appear he's wearing at least the same jacket. I don't know if he's wearing the same pants or not, but they are the light colored looking like, jogging pants, which I don't believe they are. And it looks like he has some sort of tennis shoe on. This might be of a Nike brand. I almost think I see like maybe a Nike check, a black Nike check, but I could be wrong. Hey, Scott, I did want to let you know I did get your email and I did print it out. I will be reviewing that and seeing what I can do. Just FYI. So we see this little tool pouch here. So why would he be here on the 11th? So the only thing that it's the pool cleaning kit. I'm telling you, Nancy had a thing with the pool boy. Oh, good gracious. So we have a tool bag pouch, box in this hand of this guy that was out front of her door on January 11th, 20 days. Over 3 weeks before she was taken for forever. I believe that this is the burglary. I believe that this assailant is prepared for a burglary. He brought burglary tools to break in the house, and he's probably just going to take a sheet or a pillowcase and just fill it up with, the whatever they're going in there. Typically, people that go in, they're not going to bring backpacks. They usually take, pillowcases from the residents for taking whatever they're robbing. They find they're very resourceful. If all else fails, they go to the kitchen and get some trash bags. Some people move the vehicles right up to the front door, open the front door, and start taking the furniture and everything out of the house. I mean, it depends on what type of burglar you are. So, in this case, I believe this person did break into the house, and I believe they thought they were breaking into a empty house, and they get into the master bedroom, and they're like, oh shit, we have a lady here, right? And this lady is sleeping because she's blind and she's deaf, so she has no idea that he's in the house. He has no idea he's standing over her. She has no idea any of this is went on. She's blissfully unaware of the threat and the danger that she was in on January 11th. Completely unaware. I do believe this was a botched burglary, but I think the botched burglary happened on the 11th, not on the 1st. I believe he now knows that this is person. I think he's sick in the head. And he realized he got in the house once without being detected. Can he do it again? And this time he decided to do something else. Was he hired hit, or was he somebody that wanted to essay her? I was watching Chris Como's Chris Como Crime Time or whatever. He's got 2 new social media channels that he does broadcast for, because mainstream media is dying, and so their employees are having to find other ways to keep people in. Maybe they're being sponsored by the organizations for them. Maybe they're paying them. They're getting them money to run these stories on their own pages. I don't know what I'm interested. If anybody, I'll find out. I'll be asking around when I get out on the ground, asking them how they can, organize or handle their contract. I'm very interested in that. I want to know if they're being sponsored by, like Brian Inten Investigate. Is that being sponsored by News Nation? Are they giving him a siphon to run that on his channel? Not to take away from their main News Nation channel, but giving him another way where they own that revenue stream for, for their sponsorship. I don't know how all that works, but I'm interested in finding that out. But either way, we've got a guy here on the 11th that appears to be having something what I would refer to as a robbery, a robbery bag. This is the tools of the trade for burglars. And this is what I would expect if somebody was coming to rob a house. Well, this happened on the 11th. And we just heard from the neighbor that the neighbor saw this guy casing the joint on the 11th. Not the 31st, the 11th. So everything was supposed to happen on the 11th. What stopped it? I think that needs to be the question we ask. What happened on the 11th where he didn't do what he was at her house to do? This is the botched burglary. Just my opinion. You guys, I give you the information. You guys have to make decisions for yourself related to it. But one thing that we did, an item we did talk about, is the ransom note. You guys know, if you've been watching me, I was anti-ransom. I even got frustrated, and I may have even cussed somebody, like, what kind of idiots believe that there's a ransom note? It doesn't bode with any ransom notes, because again, I don't understand ransom, so I have to research it. I have to, look up information. I've got to look at other ransoms. I've got to, go down those avenues. How were those resolved? The ones that weren't resolved, why weren't they resolved? What era were they from? Could it have been a fake, a hoax ransom, from that area? Maybe have been a domestic violence situation versus a true ransom. I've been looking at all of those aspects in this because, again, I'm ignorant when it comes to ransom, so I don't know the information. So I'm not going to assume that I do understand the information or know the information, so I'm going to go search out the information. I'm going to look at statistics. I'm going to look at what happened, not just in this country, because you're talking about ransoms, and those are so uncommon here in our country, but they're not uncommon around the world. A lot of people, believe it or not, around the world are kidnapped for money, and the family pays the ransom, and the person is let go and dropped off in the middle of the road somewhere, and their family goes and collects them. So this stuff happens all over this country. In South America, very common in South America. Everything's just about common in South America. I mean, the people that live in some places in South America, if they have money, they've got to put bulletproof glass in their vehicles. I mean, like, we have no idea, and I know this because I know people that lived in San Paulo, I think is what it is, Brazil. And they came over here to the United States to flee some of the stuff they were dealing with. I mean, their cars would be stolen, and they just got to the point where they left a note in the cars, like, if you need the car and you need to steal it, please call us and at least tell us where you left the car at. Like, they started putting notes in their cars for the people that stole their cars, just to notify them so they can pick up their car when they're done with it. I mean, it got that bad. So I know of things that go on around this world, and it's pretty shocking to a civilized country like the United States of America, or even UK or Australia, where some of our other viewership comes in. This is third world country stuff, and so I'm looking at all of these things, and one very notable thing is an action is that they reach out to the family, and they do not want law enforcement involved. So to have the first ransom note come in after the case is already viral and law enforcement is already involved, it just seems like it defeated the purpose. From everything that I've read and studied about ransoms, it just didn't bode. And when things defy logic, we know that something's not right. And the whole ransom note, in my mind, in everything I was reading, was defying the reality of ransom. So if it was defying that reality, then it couldn't possibly be. Why? It couldn't possibly be a ransom because it didn't have any characteristics of a ransom note. And everybody wanted to excuse that very, very obvious detail. And I was arguing with people. People were wanting to talk about the wrench attack. What wrench attack? And even the wrench attacks, they're like, oh, well, they requested, but that's not a wrench attack. When they kidnap you for ransom and ask for the payment to be in Bitcoin, because it's in Bitcoin doesn't make it a wrench attack. A wrench attack is somebody that goes in and attacks somebody that already has the Bitcoin, that already has the wallet, that wants to get that wallet from them and the code to get into that wallet to steal their money. That's the wrench attack. Everybody was screaming this stupid wrench attack, and every time I asked, well, nobody said that she had any Bitcoin. Everybody wanted to completely forget about that obvious factor of for something to be a wrench attack, she would have to knowingly have a Bitcoin wallet, because that's what the wrench attack is. They're going in there to get your Bitcoin wallet. Okay? They can't say it's a wrench attack because they're asking for the ransom in Bitcoin. That's still a ransom. That's still a kidnapping for ransom. That's not a freaking wrench attack. So their definition of wrench attack, it was stupid. And every time I try to get clarification on it, somebody would browbeat me or not answer the very specific question that they should have answered, which further made me question the whole validity of this wrench attack to boot. So no, we do not have an authentic ransom note, and no, this was not a wrench attack. I hate to burst everybody's bubble. Betty was right again, and I stood on my platform, I stood on my hill alone on those very, very specific facts and said there's no way. And I put my reputation up against freaking experts in their field of study. I just want to put that out. Why? Because sometimes people that are so smart are a little too smart for their britches, right? And they think they know everything. Me, I go into these cases not knowing a damn thing. I don't sit here and try to be this scholar of all the answers. So I look into this stuff. I have to research this stuff. I have to look at statistics and other ways to find out the answer, to find out what's true and what's not. I don't have to go to school. I feel like school kind of boxes you into a box. With the way we do things out here, we are so ignorant in most of the topics that we discuss. We have to study the topics, and that gives us common knowledge, instant knowledge, and it stays in our short memory so we can remember it and pull it quicker than having to go back and try to remember all of the stuff we learned in school. Like even now, I have an AA in paralegal study. I never went for the BS in paralegal studies. I was handling, 240 cases. I didn't need a BS. I had plenty of on-the-job training because our workload should have only been about 40 of those cases, and I was carrying 240 of those cases. So we were working around the clock. I was going in there hours early before my day started just to try to handle my whole entire caseload that I had successfully. And I did handle that that super large, unreasonable caseload and carried it for 2 solid years. I was worn out by the time I left that law firm. But at the end of the day, it's on the job training, in my opinion. It's on the job training. So we have people that don't know something, that aren't educated in it, that really want to know. They're going to do the research. And that's what I do each and every case. And I like coming in with a blank slate, because then I'm not, every time I think I know something, see, this is what life has taught me. Every time I think I know something, I'm knocked on my ass, right? When I go in there and go into the cases so ignorant, I feel like it's an advantage. I feel like not having the education in some of these areas is an advantage, because we're not trained on somebody else. We're finding and reading this stuff for ourselves and understanding what it means to us, not being taught to us from somebody else's lens. I'm learning this from my own lens. And when I look at these statements, I look at these statistics, and I'm hearing, experts saying this, then I start asking questions. Well, how is that? And that's what I did. I asked the questions. And it's like every time I asked the questions, the person I was asking the questions to felt like I was insulting them or insulting their and it was more of an arrogance thing than just I was just trying to find out what was what was going on, you know, like even the wrench attacks. I reached out to a few people about the wrench attacks, and I asked them very specific questions because I'm like, well, we don't even know that Miss Guthrie had any Bitcoin. And a wrench attack is, you know, her having a Bitcoin account, them knowing they have a Bitcoin account and going in there and beating her up and torturing her until she gives them the code to go in there and rob that Bitcoin account. So did she have a Bitcoin account? And how is this applied? How is this applied to the other wrench attacks? Those are reasonable questions. Wouldn't you agree? I wasn't being mean or nasty. I just wanted some real questions answered. And I got, you know, basically my head chopped off like I was coming after them to try to show my smart. I was literally just asking some questions. I wasn't trying to have a pissing contest with anybody. I didn't understand. This whole wrench attack's new to me. It seems like other people understand it better than me. I'm asking the questions. I just want to be knowledgeable. And I got my head chopped off, and I'm like, you know, normal people that are saying that this is this and they believe it, they wouldn't be chopping my head off for asking reasonable questions. So then that in and of itself seemed like, well, maybe they're forcing this down. Is this just for a click and a view? And I kind of feel in part that it must have been because nobody would answer very basic questions. They still to this day haven't answered the very basic questions I asked. I stopped asking. I'll be honest with you. I stopped because nobody would answer the fucking question. Excuse my language, but nobody would. And I'm not going to call anybody out, but you know what? Sometimes when I'm asking questions, it's just to have knowledge. You know, I don't deserve to be having my head chopped off for asking a freaking reasonable question about a wrench attack. And I really did take offense to that because it was somebody that I highly respected and I thought would be kind of give me the, you know, the lowdown on it. I wasn't expecting to have my freaking head chopped off because of asking a question. But whatever the case may be, I did. And it just made me, you know, question that even more. It's like, you know, this can't be a wrench attack because, you know, nobody can answer a freaking question I have. And if this was a wrench attack, these questions should be easily answered. So that removed the whole wrench attack from my mind of being a possibility, even though so many people were trying to push this through. It just wasn't. They were forcing something. They were forcing a square peg into a round hole, and it didn't fit. But these ransom notes, any seasoned law enforcement agent should have. I mean, maybe at first you got to take them serious, but at some point, any seasoned law enforcement would have known these ransoms were hoaxes. So for TMZ to keep saying, "Oh, the FBI believes these are hoaxes," or these are legitimate, and for mainstream media to drag and dangle these ransom notes out for maximum, financial gain is bullshit. We should have known the details of these ransom notes months ago. Months ago. I do want to tell Brianna Whitney, welcome to liberating media, right? Where we truly believe in free press. So I'm glad she's made the leap over. I'm glad she finally unveiled the truth for all of us to make a decision. But at the end of the day, it did solidify in my mind that these ransom notes were bogus. These ransom notes were bogus out the gate. I only needed to hear them. And that tells me if I only needed to hear them, that there's plenty seasoned FBI agents at Pima County Sheriff's Department that knew that these were bogus. So stop the bullshit. This pisses me off more than anything. And you people in mainstream media, let me tell you something. You guys are so quick to club us over the head out here in mainstream media. Or in social media. So quick. But we don't do dirty shit like this. Maybe some people do come and create news and make up crap and stuff like that. But so do people in the news, in the regular mainstream media, okay? We won't even get into Howard Stern and his disgusting, proclivities and shit like that. But he was a journalist. He was accepted. He was okay. But somehow us being out here talking about these cases aren't. And it just was so stinking upsetting because we go into these communities. Thank you so much. Who's that come from? Shiloh, thank you. Thank you, Seymour, Shiloh Waltz and Seymour. Thank you. God bless you. I think when it comes to this case and all of the bull crap that has been in this case and them trying to blame social media, and it wasn't. Not in this case. You know who all the fault is on? It's on that criminal sheriff and their local media. That's who burdens this. That's who carries this burden. That's who carries this burden in this case. KVOA, you are supposed to be family to the Guthrie family, and you tank this case. You were part of the reason why we are here. And I just want to make sure KVOA knows that. And all of their reporters know that. You are part of the reason why we are here because you are so corrupted. You are so corrupted. So this was an atypical. Atypical, it doesn't bode. It doesn't bode with logic. Okay? It just doesn't bode with logic. The first reported note demanded $4 million in Bitcoin by February 5th and warned that the amount would increase to $6 million if the deadline was not met. Your mother is aware of this and her life is in your hands, the reported note said, according to Whitney. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Jack Pack, a retired FBI hostage negotiator, tells people, if real, the note's line about not being able to contact him is not the norm, right? Because they want to keep working until they get paid. So this whole thing, this was all a hoax. This was all, what did I say back? Cinematic. Didn't I say that earlier in this? This is all too much. It's too much. Too movie-like. Cinematic. It's too cinematic for me, right? My Uncle Brad offered. Oh. I'm sorry to hear that. So, genuine kidnap for ransom actors almost always want to preserve the communication channel because they need it to actually to collect the payment, says Pack. A note that says you will not be able to contact me from here on out and there will be no negotiation is working against the extortionist's own interest. That's atypical. So, now that Bullhorn Betty was out here for months screaming that these ransom notes were bogus, they're hoaxes, they're extortionists. They didn't go to the case. They just distracted from the case. And now we find out 6 months later, because of Brianna finally letting us know what was in those stupid ransom notes, we can finally put this animal to bed. There's no way you're going to have one person saying, oh, you better give me this money or else I'm killing your mama, right? And then having a day later or 2 days later coming, oh my God, she died. I'm so sorry. Okay, cut it out. I'm done. I'm done being a puppet, okay? I'm cutting the puppet master strings. I'm done. I don't know who was dangling this little tea, but it's not legitimate, okay? You're drinking soured milk, okay? The ransoms are soured milk at this point. Soured milk. And then we got somebody still believing that, she's alive 5 months later. Okay, listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to victims of crime, survivors of crime, and stuff like that. And I understand why some people, but let's face it, one victim is different from another victim. For example, the one on the left side of your screen, your right side of your, what side of this? Left side, right side. Okay, the one on the right side of your screen, it was young, didn't have heart problems, didn't need medication to survive. The one on the left side of your screen cannot survive without taking her medication. That means if she does not take a pill, her heart will stop. And she does not have the pill. Therefore, probably, most likely, months ago, her heart stopped. Not to be bad news bear, right? So Elizabeth Smart has urged the public not to give up hope that Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy Guthrie, could still be alive, okay? I understand her position. Again, one was a kid with no heart conditions. One's an elderly lady with a lot of heart conditions. Big difference in the cases. I understand. I appreciate everything that she went through and all of that. Again, we did discuss this yesterday. The recall efforts for Chris Nanos, done. Okay? I just want all of the people that are out there fighting for Nancy Guthrie and for answers. The community is not sharing your hope to find her. Okay? The sheriff out there, the criminal sheriff, does not supporting your efforts to find her. He doesn't care about her. He wants the easiest path. This has already ruined his reputation. He doesn't really care about this case. Okay. Yeah, they're just going to be playing patty cake until somebody else finds it. They're never going to find her, okay? It's going to take us, the people, we the people, to stumble across her remains before this case is going to ever be closed. Why? Because Chris Nanos is a piece of shit, okay? That's all there is to it. What's the news for today? Chris Nanos is a piece of shit. Is that professional? No, it's not, but you didn't come here for professional. You came here for the truth. You came here for the truth. So Chris Nanos dropped the ball in this case, left a whole bunch of people that could have helped and aid in finding Miss Nancy Guthrie. No justice, no peace in the Nancy Guthrie case. But at the end of the day, I can tell you the community does not support your needs to help this case or want to find her, whoever did this to her. The community itself, if you guys don't want change, I'm telling you, I will never force feed any change down anybody's throat. Not at all. But you make your bed, you lie in it. And this is not the first time that the Catalina foothills have been met with this type of fate. Back in the 80s, you guys had a serial rapist and murderer in your community. And you know what? I bet you the lights were off then. You guys still haven't learned your lesson. Okay? So people like me from Florida, we look at this situation and we start pissing people off. People are like, I can't stand Betty. Right? Because I just start telling it like it is. I call people idiots. I start making people really think about what they are doing to themselves and their community. Because most of the people that are making these decisions, it's not affecting them, it's affecting somebody else. And then when it affects somebody else, just like Sumner County, your community's got their heads so far in the sand that they refuse to come up for air or even help move bad politicians and criminal sheriffs out of the way. So community, you make your bed, you live in it, and you lie in it. And you know what? It's going, eventually, your decisions. When communism starts knocking on your doors, when you start getting ripped out of your homes and realize you no longer own your homes, oh, they'll never do that. Okay. Look at Cuba, right? Look at Venezuela. Look at Iran. Iran was never like this. Have you seen photos from the 80s, from the 70s and 80s? Oh, it looked normal. They dressed just like us. They had life just like us. They would be sitting on their cars in shorts and tank tops and hanging out like young teenagers would, like we used to at the lakes. That was what Iran used to look like, folks. Until communism. Until somebody came in there and told them what they were going to do and took everything from them and squandered it. To sow hate around the country and around the world. So you guys can keep doing what you want. You may think it's never going to happen until it does. And then once it does happen, you guys see what's going on in Iran right now to liberate the people, do you not? I just want you guys to understand that it's all about educating yourself. I want you to understand what's in our future if we keep going down this ugly road. And I say that lovingly because I believe people want change in this country, but I think their desperation for change, they're making terrible decisions that none of us are going to be able to live with. That's what I really truly think. The primetime rapist and night stalker, there you are. Yep, that's it. So I hope the people, it's not to be disrespectful, but sometimes when you try to be nice and you try to walk on eggshells and you try to worry about everybody's feelings, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you just need to smack them upside the head and let them look at themselves from the lens that you and most of the people around the country look at them. And once you do that, it's like the light bulb goes off on top of their head and they're ready to make some changes. You know? There's another case that's really been haunting our country, at least this side of the United States, and it's this case of Jason Colthart. We have a Facebook group that's going. It's chug-a-lug-a-luggin'. It's not, this case is not, it's getting widely known, but just in this half, it's not like international or national media attention just yet. But we are making leaps and bounds and waves on the case. And Jason Colthart is a 43-year-old electrician. He had his own little electrical jobs, side jobs, and stuff like that. From everything I understood, he had a little bit of a drinking and drug, party problem. He loved to be out partying. He was a father. I don't know how he came across Isabel Rose Johnson, but I have to believe it has something to do with the bars, the partying, the substances, and maybe going to pick it up. Or maybe he was using her to date her or whatever, street type stuff for money so she could afford her stuff. I don't know. But either way, it sounds like he went over to the house on Sunset Drive and something happened while he was there. And she ultimately murdered him. We heard that he was in a shallow grave with concrete on him. When he came out, he even had zip ties around his neck. So you're talking about a brutal homicide. Brutal. I don't know if we're talking about, knives or stabbing or gunshot wounds. We don't know what we're dealing with. But one tidbit of information I did get out was that he had zip ties around his neck, which is pretty brutal. And so she manipulated a lot of people in helping her. I don't think she manipulated Bobby. I think Bobby was an equal participant in this. I don't know why, but I feel like Bobby was an equal participant. I guess only time will tell whether Bobby's a female, but it's going to be whether or not Bobby is ultimately responsible. Bobby is the one that owns the property at Sunset. It sounds like Isabel lived with Bobby for some time. I believe that they may even have engaged in a lesbian relationship. There's just a lot more to this story than meets the eyes, and they're not telling us a whole lot about why Jason was with Isabel. And so that tells me that I feel like this was a date type of thing, a purchase, a paid for date. If you guys know what I mean when I say date, it's more of a street walking term. And if you know what a streetwalker is, then you know what a date is. So you guys get what I'm saying. It's possible that she was selling of herself for money to support her habit. There is that possibility. We don't know. She might have just been the dealer and he might have been a little short and she must have lost her shit, and there's a number of reasons what could have happened here. But either way, somebody knows something and somebody knows where she is. So the Walton County Sheriff's Department has been releasing a lot of images of her and of her tattoos, of Isabel Johnson's tattoos. I don't know how she's been able to squander from law enforcement this long, how she's been able to elude them this long. Some people believe that she did take a big rig out of town, and there is a possibility of that. A habit, allegedly, exactly. The sheriff's office on Thursday released additional identifying features believed being Johnson, and these are the tattoos that they want you guys to see. So she's got a tattoo on her hand. These are things that she's not going to be able to hide. On her ankle, on her leg, she's got a huge tattoo of like a bird going down her back. We'll see that here in just a little bit. So they're starting to really amp up and really start letting you know what her tattoos look like. This right here are the other individuals that have been arrested. This right here is Bobby. This is the one that she was living with. I believe her and Bobby were having a lesbian relationship. I believe this is their friends, probably from drugs. right? They're probably doing all this stuff too. That's how they all know each other. And it sounds like she was saying that this is her ex, domestic violence. She had no choice. And these people, she was able to con these people into helping her. So was she dating Jason? Did they have this open relationship? Is that what this was all about? I really don't know, but I can tell you that he was a good guy. You know, he just had some of his own demons.
He was a giver. He gave his time to anybody that needed help. He gave money to anybody that needed food. He gave a smile to anybody that needed to laugh.
I spoke to a family member of Jason Coulthard, the Florida father who police say was killed by this woman.
I'm just trying to get back to my house.
She's like, I'm trying to get back to my house. So she even seems paranoid in that thing. She looks like she's a little high in that, you know, whether she's coming down or not, just by how she's talking and how she's acting.
38-year-old Isabel Johnson. Police are calling her a master manipulator and dangerous. They say she killed Jason by using a zip tie around his neck and buried him in a shallow grave in a property where she lived. The body was found buried.
See, I told you she lived there. We had to hunt that information down, folks. We had to hunt that information. Hey, Seth, it's nice to see you. We had to hunt that information down, and that's what made me believe that this is a lesbian couple, and why I believe Bobby is more involved than what Bobby is saying she is.
Beneath fresh cement. Her roommate has been arrested for allegedly helping her bury the body, and police allege
I believe Bobby was more involved.
4 other people who are now in custody.
And I want to let you guys know that you guys heard that here on this channel first about this case, about their involvement, because we did the research. And I told you that there's a link between Bobby and Isabel, and law enforcement at that time would not give you guys that link. We did here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. I just want to make sure you guys can go back and fact check, but you will find out that I was one of the first people that talked about her living on this property at Sunset Drive for the first week or so. Nobody knew what the connection with Isabel to this property was. We broke that. What do you mean I look tired? I'm not tired. I didn't put any makeup on. This is my wake up face. This is my we don't need any makeup face. This is my I'm a little old lady face. Okay, I didn't put a stick of makeup on this morning. I'm not tired. I just didn't choose. I went all natural for this show. Does my natural beauty look tired? Thanks, Seth. You're lucky you have a child missing. I'd say some choice words to you, sir.
Helped her in evading police.
That was probably not the right terminology. You're lucky you have a missing son. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that like that, but I was trying to make it funny, but it's not funny.
Last seen in this surveillance video, as police were closing in, she was able to convince a clerk at a tattoo parlor to order an Uber ride, and she was able to get away. There is now a reward
so she was in a tattoo shop and she got an Uber ride.
For any information leading to her arrest. She also goes by Harley or even Denise. Police say she is a master in disguise and need your help to find her and bring closure to Jason's family.
So there you guys have it. She's master manipulator. She is on the run. She's got multiple tattoos. She looks very innocent. I mean, I think if we saw this lady anywhere, we would never think that she has what it has to unalive somebody. But drugs makes you do terrible things, you know? It really does. It makes you do terrible things. Where is that? I may have to go to their page. I might have to go to their Facebook page. Hold on a second. Let me go to the Facebook page. Isabel Johnson. Because Walton, there it is. There's her, there's the photo of the bird. So here are all the tattoos she has. She's got a lot of tattoos on her. Okay, you guys see all those? This is going to be the most obvious right here because I believe she's selling herself to fund her stuff. I think she knows that she looks normal and she uses that to fool people. I'm sure her size fools people as well. But we've got tattoos, and that's one thing that she's never going to have enough money to cover up. Okay, she might be able to cover up some of these, but all these other tattoos, she does not have. When you're on the run, the one thing you don't have is money, right? And any money you do have, it's to help feed you, do whatever you need to do while you're on the run. So she's not going to be having any additional money. The only way she's going to be able to cover up these tattoos is if she meets somebody in a tattoo shop that's willing to stick their neck out and start covering up some of these pieces. But these pieces are going to be pretty obvious. And especially that bird. That bird is probably the nicest piece she has on her body. That took a lot of work. I can tell by the detail of it. If you guys don't know, I am from a biker, history. So I know good tattoos when I see them. I know great work when I see it. I know great strokes when I see it. And that bird is, you can see the crap up on her shoulder, more amateur. But you see that bird on her, that right there took some time. That's some detailed work. That's some pretty detailed work. So she ain't getting rid of that. That's going to be very, very, very noticeable on her. So I want you guys to see these tattoos. I want you to see her in different stuff. We don't know if she's changing. So far, it doesn't seem like she's changing her hair color. So she might still be brown haired. But, again, she might have changed her hair. She might have chopped her hair off. She might have shaved her head. She would be able to obscure. She might be able to shave her head and start mimicking a dude. Right? The lady's using multiple disguises. And we don't know where she is. So she could be anywhere in Alabama, Georgia, or Florida. She may not even have left Florida. But there is there is a reward, a $16,000 reward. So I hope anybody that has information does call this in, does get her behind bars, and it collects that $16,000. I'd love for it to be a coffee club member that collects a reward on these cases. I would love that more than anything in this world. But at the end of the day, it does. I don't know. So let's listen to this. Let's listen to this report.
Forward to that. A manhunt now underway for a woman accused of murdering a 43-year-old father whose remains were found in the Florida Panhandle. Authorities saying she is using several different identities and disguises while on the run. Joining me now, Donna Rotuno, to talk about this. Donna, great to see you today. Why has she been so successful? We're going to put up here her criminal history. It's pretty extensive. It's not like she is unknown to police. Why is she so good at evading to this point?
Yeah, this is really something. I mean, they're definitely onto her. They have arrested other people in conjunction with this, so that leads us to believe that those people have given information and they have some idea that she was involved in this. So the fact that she's been able to get away, especially in the world we are in today, with surveillance everywhere you go. I mean, Shannon, you can't even go buy a cup of coffee without somebody knowing where you are these days. So eventually she will be found, as we have seen with all people that have tried to escape from prisons, and eventually you end up getting caught.
Well, and this gets to the point, like, she's got to have some help. Here is Chief Deputy Dustin.
That is exactly what I do believe. There's no way that somebody, even Austin Drummond, which we're about to dive into here in just a few moments. We've already went through Mitch McConnell. We're unifying with the Dems, folks. We're unifying with the Dems. We are... Bullhorn Betty and AOC have partnered up. Bullhorn Betty and AOC have partnered up to find out where, instead of where's Waldo, where's Mitch McConnell. And so we're pushing for Mitch McConnell we're pushing to find Mitch McConnell. Okay. So Bullhorn Betty and AOC, this is the only time in the history of this country or in this world or in this lifetime that you'll hear those two names in the same sentence together, working together to find out what happened to Mitch McConnell. Okay. So that's a little funny, but not funny. Then we move on over to, have we gotten to Nolan? No, we haven't gotten to Nolan yet. But we moved over to Arizona to Miss Nancy Guthrie, the ransom notes, mainstream media. Those are our biggest complaints right now with this case is the criminal sheriff, the corrupted media, And, this ransom note that we finally got to understand what was in it. And now everybody knows that the ransom notes were hogwash. They've been hogwash since the beginning. Nobody believes the ransom notes. And we spent 6 months going down a rabbit hole that didn't even exist. So I'm highly upset over this. I'm glad we didn't take you guys down the rabbit hole and stuff. But I've been fighting with a lot of people of these stupid ransom notes and being told I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Well, I guess I do. I guess I was the only one that knew what the hell I was talking about out of all the professionals and experts in the field of ransoms. But I digress. At the end of the day, now we're moving over here to the Panhandle of Florida and Isabel Johnson, Jason Coulhart's case. Father, in a shallow grave, zip ties around his neck, dead, and there's a lot of people, 5 people right now behind bars for assisting the murderer in escaping. And now this murderer is on the run. We have a nationwide manhunt right now for Isabel Rose Johnson. And, she's eluding and evading police and capture. Will she be found? Did she already succumb? Did she decide that she knew she was going to go away for life and decided to go in the backwoods and, take care of business? Sometimes people do that. Sometimes people don't want to go back to prison. They'd rather be, going to the next plateau of their being versus going and spending the rest of their life behind bars, especially when they have addictions and other stuff. She might have intentionally got herself a hot package. She might have intentionally got herself and went out in the woods and OD'd. We don't know what the issue is, but do we have any footage of her physically being on the run? Do we have anything? Have we captured her anywhere? Either in Alabama. They said they believe she might have made it to Athens, Georgia. What led them to believe that? Is there any images of her on a camera somewhere that we can say, okay, she's still alive? She didn't go in the backwoods and go kaboom. That's going to be my biggest fear at this point. So we are there, and how she was able to escape so much, I really don't know, but we do have a $16,000 reward for her. She has been able to elude and uses disguises to keep under the radar. But again, I would like to learn a little more about how they believe she's moving. I think at this point they should have some ideas of how she's moving. So we'll take a deep dive in there. I might reach out to the law enforcement body out there and just send them some questions. They're in Florida. They usually will be willing to at least speak to me, even if briefly. I think I can get a response out of them. So I'll try to get that for a second. Guys, we're going to take just a small little break. We've talked about a lot. I need a break for a second. So let's go ahead, we'll put some music on. And let me go back here. Hold on.
Rocks.
There we go. We'll put some music on here, and we're just going to take a 3-minute break. I just need to take a 2 or 3 minute break, and then we'll be back. Well, hello, my. I don't want that one. Which one is it? Is it this one?
Step one.
There we go.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun.
We'll play some music. We haven't heard Good Day in a while, so we'll play some music. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. All right, guys. We are back. Thank you for allowing me that. If I had a video to play, like we're switching gears. We're we're about to move into Nolan Wells' case and get some updates on that case real quick, which there's not really a whole lot to discuss on that case, but we are finding out some new details in the Nolan Wells. So it does sound like he did get separated from the guys he went with. It sounds like they had an emergency. One of the boats was taking on too much water and they needed to get out of there as quickly as possible. So they left early. And that's why Nolan did not want to go with them. They were asking him to get on the boat to go. They chose not to go. He chose not to go. He chose to stay behind. So somebody knows something. I truly believe somebody saw something out there. He was out there around hundreds, if not thousands of people, and he wound up in a spot where whatever happened to him should have been known. So even though his guys that he went out there with, and he didn't, I don't want it to sound like they left him out there. He was supposed to come back with them, but it was too early. He wasn't ready to call it a day. And he had all of his other friends from other boats that came out there from the 3 boats that they were with. There was a lot of people. And so he told them that he wanted to stay out there. He wasn't ready to go home yet. He wasn't ready to go back. And so they left. So yes, something still did happen to Nolan, but what? Did he get knocked off a boat when they were leaving? Did he get pulled out? Did they not realize he was out there? Was he with people and they thought he came with a different boat, so nobody really thought anything about Nolan? And while he was out there, he got swept out in a rip current and nobody even paid attention to him because they didn't bring him. The people that did bring him had already left. And so when they searched around and realized he was gone, they said, oh, well, he must have left with his friends. He must have, left. And everybody was like, oh, well, I guess he left. I guess he went with this person. I guess he went with that person. Next thing you know, he's missing and he winds up dead. So I think that we're going to have more, something like that. But I still believe somebody saw what happened, whether he got into an altercation, whether he got swept out to sea, whether he got knocked off a boat, whether he was hit in the head by accident, or he was physically assaulted. We're going to find that out, but from my understanding, whatever happened to him happened after his friends left. And his friends would never have left if they weren't in an emergency situation. So an emergency happened. They needed to leave. They asked Nolan to come with them. Nolan's like, no, I'm not ready to leave. You guys go on. And they went on. And then whatever happened from that point on is when Nolan lost his life. So I still believe somebody knows something. I'm just starting now. Granted, have you seen my manatee? Okay, Athens, not too far from you. Walter Beach. Oh, she's heading to the mountains. Ooh. Interesting. You might be right. You might be right, because up in those mountains, there's a lot of unmanned cabins out there. Cabins, from family members that have died, their family aren't going out there anymore. Hunting cabins, you know how like when you have the matriarch of the family, everybody stays together, every holidays at that family's house. They're the ones that truly keep the family unit together. And when they pass away, everybody kind of goes their separate ways. They're no longer that family unit because that one person is what made them that family unit. And when that person passes away, nobody knows where to go because nobody has the house big enough like that person did to bring in all the family together. So it becomes a little more strained on trying to keep the family together on holidays and stuff like that. And the family starts, separating, so to speak. And there are people that pass away that the family doesn't even know that they have these properties because these properties have been in the family for generations and generations. They haven't gone out there for generations and generations. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of dilapidated properties out in the woods and in the mountains. And there's a lot of well-kept properties out in the woods and out in the mountains in Georgia. But you're right. If she's going into the mountains, she might be able to hunker down, and she might be able to hunker down in style because a lot of those places are on well water. You don't really need a whole lot of electricity. But even some of those places, if you know what you're doing, you'll be able to, if they've had electricity there before and that line has not been broke, there are certain things that you can do to make sure that to get electricity running the house again if they haven't broke the line. If it's still hooked up to the power grid, then there's certain things that you could probably do around the house with the knowledge. I'm not going to tell you, but with knowledge that you can do to get some power, going to the house without receiving a bill, or them even knowing the power is on. So just a little tidbit of information. If you have the right kind of knowledge, you can absolutely do that. So getting back to Wells, I think we have a situation here where I feel, oh, thank you, Horsey Love. Looky. Horsey just gifted 10 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Seth has always been part of the family, so it's official. We're going to put Seth all the way down at the other end of the insane asylum, okay? He's going to have... I usually put the ones I like closer to me, because it's just easier. So if I need to smack them, I put them in the room next to me. But Seth, we're putting you way, 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 way down at the other end of the asylum. Janie, Shelley, Pale Rider. Oh, it's been a while since I've heard Pale Rider. Kiki, Christy, and Kelly's. Oh, that's not all 10. Hold on, let me keep going. We got Lori, Flamorina, and Not So Dumb Blonde. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard, and it's because I'm a love machine. Ow! 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 Welcome, new members. We appreciate you. Thank you. The real me too. Thank you. Oh, I've got your hat. I finally found a box because I'm getting boxes to the house now, because I'm packing up. And so I finally found a box for the hat that would fit the hat. So I need you to send me your address, and I've already got it packed up. I just got to put the boxing tape on it and print out you a print label, and I'll take it right up there and get it mailed off to you so you don't have to wait for the hat. I want to get the hat. I'm scared if I don't get the hat mailed to you, I'm going to end up packing it up by accident, and then we're going to lose it, and I'm never going to be able to find it for Benjamin. Man, I wish I walked in a minute earlier to grab Horsey Love. You're so sweet. Aw, thank you. Yes, she is so sweet. So, I don't know how to take Nolan. I don't believe the story that he just, and moreover, like we have, at first, I was like, I don't trust the friends. I didn't say, I told you guys, we're not beating up the friends, but I didn't believe their story. I believe something else happened. I didn't believe they're murderers, okay? I'm not going in far as saying that they're murderers or he died because of the color of his skin. I don't believe that that's the case here. But I do believe that something happened and somebody knows exactly what happened. Unfortunately, I think what's so upsetting for his friends is they don't know because they had to leave. And they didn't, I want to be very clear, they didn't leave because they wanted to leave. They left because an emergency situation arose. When they went back to their boat was sinking. Their boat was taking on water. I bet you it was a plug. I bet you their plug was worn out, or they forgot to put the plug into the boat. Or somehow the plug may have, in transport, worn out and fell out, something like that. Because when you're taking on water, it tells me that because there's a plug down at the bottom of the boat that you can open, like if you got water in, to get the water out of the off the bow and the stuff on the boat. So you unplug that to get some of the water out, or whenever you have to clean the boat, you need to find a way to get the water out of the boat when you have to spray the boat down. Well, there's a plug in the back of the boat that helps get all that water out of the inside of the boat. And sometimes people forget to plug that button up. Like for us, we didn't keep that button in place. One, it would get dry rotted, but two, because you would have torrential rains in Florida, and you don't want that rain building up on your boat, so you leave the plug The live well has a plug too. Okay, well, then we have a live well plug too. Okay, you're right. So there was a couple plugs on these boats that, if you don't have them in, they will bring on water, and maybe they forgot to put those in. But either way, there was an emergency going on, and they had to leave. They tried to get Nolan to get on the boat. He wasn't ready to leave, and he was with a girl. Now, why didn't he have his phone? Because they were all in the water. And phones don't belong in the water. So we even saw him even when we were watching him in that photo, what was he doing? He was reaching over in a cooler. I didn't see a phone in his hand. We do have some photos of him out there on the water. Not very good photos, but you can tell it's him. And I never saw one phone in his hand. I didn't see the look of a phone being in his back pocket or anything like that, because he was about to jump off that boat back in the water. And the one thing we don't want for our phones is to be in the water and then falling into the water, because they will damage the phones. Even with the sealed phones, it's salt water. Okay? Salt water, it will deteriorate any type of electronic. Any metal, it's going to be corrosive. Salt is corrosive. So you when you're out there on the boat and you know you're going to be in the water, you're not going to take your phone. So I think that does make sense. The story that I heard on Officer Tatum's show made sense to me. In when I played the tape through, I could see all these things happening. So I don't believe his friends are involved in his demise at all. I think they left before anything happened. So what did happen? Well, we need to find the people that were around him first. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do that right now. We just had a change in our Supreme Court, which makes, that you can't just, they're making it a warrant. You have to get a warrant now to do basically geofencing. This is going to a grand jury, so they are tightening it down, in preparation of something at the grand jury level, which is a good positive here. And the mom, from my understanding, made the United Cajun Navy, she wanted to see the photos and the videos of her son and how they found him. People are kind of taken back, like, what, mom or father? Listen, I'm sorry, but even Kaylee Gonzalez's dad, when they were taken to the funeral home, he went into the funeral home to look at their bodies, to see, the injuries on their bodies, which was probably very brutal for a father to see his little girl like that. But I think parents, they want, when it comes to your child, parents are stronger than maybe we give up parents credit for, but it's not I don't know how to explain it, but when something happens to your child, you want to see your child. You want to see what happened. You want to see it with your own eyes. As hard as that is to do, it's something that you must do if you have an opportunity. So I heard that the family, the mom, reached out to the United Cajun Navy, and she wanted to see her son. She wanted to see how they found him. And from my understanding, they did show her the aerial footage of his body as they found it. So I'm not going to go through all that. I just wanted to tell you. And of course, the independent autopsy was undetermined. I don't think there's anything significant in that autopsy. And it's upsetting for me because our understanding is his friends were begging him to come. They had to leave. They couldn't stay. He wanted to stay. They were saying, no, please, let's just go back. And he just wouldn't. And these are decisions he chose to make. We don't know what happened to him because we don't know who he is around. Now, could the story from the kids change? Could we find out that their story is not true, that they did not leave? Yeah, we could find out that, but I really believe they left. And I believe he left, they knew they left him behind. And I believe that he he wanted to be left behind. I do believe the boys. I do believe his friends that he went there with, because I mean, why would his friends? I mean, if something happened to him, I keep thinking about this. This whole island was littered with people. You're not talking about just one small group or two small groups out there. You're talking about one of the largest island parties around. I mean, the whole island, it sounded like, had boats wrapped around it, that there weren't just hundreds of people, that there was potentially thousands of people out there. Okay? Thousands of people out there. I cannot believe out of all of those people, nobody saw anything. So, what happened? The only way they're going to find out is to find out who the girl is and who he was around. Now, if you are the girl, or you are a girl's friends, or you saw him after his friends left, please reach out to me. I'll keep you guys confidential. I just want information. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you want to be on the record, I'll put you on the record. I'll bring you up on my show. But if you don't want to be, I just want the info. I want the intel. The intel is more important to me. So if you know somebody that was out there, please let me know. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Thousands of people with boats tied up to each other. It's insane. Okay, so she's saying it's insane. So we've got a huge, a lot of people out there. I'm not saying something, I'm just saying his friends didn't do it. Did something happen to him? Did he get in an altercation? It's possible, but without any type of bruising on his body. That's the problem I have, is that they're not saying that there's any defensive wounds on him, that there's any bruising on him. They're saying that things are missing, and they're talking about one spot in the back of the head, and that could have easily happened if he got too drunk and fell backwards and hit his head on something. We don't know. If he got too drunk and fell off a boat and drowned right there, maybe when he sunk to the bottom of the ocean, he smacked his head on a rock. We don't know. It could have been because he was transported. We had one expert saying, look, he's been transported. When he got picked up, he was found face forward, but when he was picked up, he was put on his back. When he was transported to Washington, D.C., he was put on his back. And despite him going, having fluid, embalming fluid put in him, it's not going to take all the blood out of his body. So that blood could technically pool in the back of his head because he's on his back the entire time. There is reasons for that reasonable reasons why some of those things came up in the autopsy. So I've been looking at all of the information about the autopsy and what's been specifically talked about Nolan's autopsy. And so I'm not there yet that there's any criminality here, but I don't believe nobody saw anything. I'm not there, okay? When people are out there partying and getting drunk, are they paying attention? They're not paying attention. Could somebody could somebody lose their life right in front of 1,000 people without 1,000 people knowing? Yes. Yes, it's possible. It's possible, okay, folks? I mean, I know people are like, oh, that's impossible. No, it's not. Because when you have 1,000 people, they're all paying attention to themselves. They are not paying attention to anything else that's going on around them. And then you add drugs or alcohol in it, and you got a bunch of people hanging out, enjoying their friends, talking to their friends, and not paying attention to anything around them. So is it possible that he could have been ripped? He could have been sitting there and got riptide out to sea. Maybe somebody's like, oh, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go and get another beer, or I'm going to go get another cocktail, or I'm going to go get another J, or I got to go pee, I'm going to go on the boat and pee, God knows what. We saw some boats out there. There were some pretty nice boats, like houseboat type boats, big boats. There were some pretty big boats out there. And could he have went and just got swept away and nobody was even paying attention? Could it happen? Yes, I'm telling you guys, it could happen. You know how I know this could happen? Because I've been on a beach before where there was a kid there and we're all just sitting there having a good time. And next thing we know, we see a kid all the way out there and we have to send a life guy out there to get the kid. No, it happened that quick. We didn't even see it. Didn't even see it. And all of these people on the beach. So I know for a fact that things like this can happen in front of a lot of people and nobody paying attention. I'm not ready to even in the court of public opinion throw grenades at young children. And I consider these 18, 19, 20 somethings young children. Okay, I'm 46 years old, about to turn 50 years old, 40, let's not rush it, Betty. 47 years old in September. Okay, these are kids to me. They're babies. So now we're gonna kind of move gears, and that's kind of my conversation about Nolan Wells. Will we find out any information about Nolan Wells? Will we find out, was he in an altercation? Was he battered? How did he lose his life and nobody see him lose his life? Is there more to the story? I believe there's more to the story. Just my gut is telling me there's more to the story. But do I believe that somebody murdered him? I don't. I believe that it would be more in line with doing stupid shit and something happened, right? And this does happen. We all know, no matter how much. I mean, look at Riley Strain, right? The one mistake they made is he should have been walking with a friend. His friends allowed him to leave a bar and walk alone. That was a piss poor decision that lost this man his life. Now, a similar situation could have theoretically happened to Nolan Wells. His friends left him behind. His friends should have never left him. But, guys are not going to argue with guys. If they're their friends and their friends, they ask them, get in the boat, let's go. And their friend says no, they're going to be like, come on, dude. Come on, bro. Let's go. We got to go home. You got your car at my house, dude. Like, come on. Let's just go. It's been a long day. You're drunk. We all needed, the boat's sinking, dude. We got to go. Let's go home. And he's like, no, I got this hot babe over there, man. Come on, y'all. You guys can't make me go back. It's only 4:30. Come on, right? And they're like, come on, bro. Let's go. And he's like, no, it's too damn early. I was thinking we were going to be going back around 5:36. I just want to say hang out for another hour. I'll come by and grab my phone. I'll be back. Give me about another hour. Give me another hour. Could that have happened? The way that they described it, yeah, it could have. I've seen that. I think if the guys go back to our younger years, right? And sometimes it's hard to go back to our younger years. I remember some of the stuff I don't remember. We're not going to go into that. But, I do remember and recollect things that have happened like that. I've had people that have rode with me that, no matter how much coercion I've tried to get them to come back with me, they just wanted to stay. And you can only do so much. And then you're like, well, screw it. You know what? He wants to stay. I'm not, we're not going to be, I'm never going to talk to you again if you don't come. You don't get on this boat right now. When you come over and get your shit, don't call me no more. Okay. Guys aren't like that. Okay. Maybe some girls might be, but guys aren't like that. They're like, all right, bro, whatever, stay behind. We'll see you. Just come by and get your damn phone when you get here. Are you sure you don't want your phone? No, I don't want my phone. All right. We don't know. I think it's almost impossible for somebody to tell their friends to leave and not think to grab their phone. But you know what? If he was intoxicated, maybe that none of them even thought to grab their phone. We definitely know that there was most likely marijuana out there as well as alcohol. We know that for a fact there was alcohol out there. Was there anything else? Were they tripping? Were they shrooming? Were they, a number of other things that high school and college kids do? I watched Tatum with one of the boys. Yeah, that's the one I'm speaking of right now, is that, I kind of believed him and kind of didn't believe him. But, you got to remember that young kids that are thrusted into the spotlight don't speak well. Some of them speak better than others, but for the most part, they don't speak well. It's because they're nervous. This is their first experience. Many of us have had a lot of experiences. Like when I first was interviewed, I was a little shaky. Now somebody sticks a camera and I just rattle off. You just kind of got a knack for it now, right? I still remember, it's so hard for me to believe that I run a show and, that I'm here and I'm talking, and I'm talking to hundreds, if not thousands of people every single day. And I remember going back to that very first, political meeting where I was just this little mouse reading from this, piece of paper. And I was just so scared, and so terrified of my own words and speaking. And now you guys got a Bullhorn Betty that's like, give me that damn microphone. Let me tell you about yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Give me that mic. Let me tell you about yourself. You don't know about you? Don't worry. I got you. I got you. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Good morning. All right, guys. Now, here is the story I was wanting to go over with you guys yesterday. If you were here on our show yesterday, we had a massive... If we can stop, hold on, before we go into this next segment. This is our final segment of the show. It's the final wheel of our show. So as you know, we're already going over our allotted time. I usually try to carve out 2 hours for the show. Sometimes we go over 3, sometimes 4 hours. We used to be on this all day. We just did nothing but sit here and research all day in real time, and everybody just came here, and I had the panels, and everybody just came up on the panels and all this other stuff, and it was good. It was good. I've ditched what the hell am I speaking of? StreamYard. And so it has prevented me from being able to have panel guests. So I'm trying to figure out another avenue for panel guests, whether it's Google Meets or Zoom or something else that I could potentially use to get us more of a panel, because I'd like to do panels. I was just talking to Sonia. Sonia reached out to me and asked me, why haven't I had, Criminal Network or 857 Tucson or DA Juice? And she thought it would be a good idea, since we're talking about the Guthrie case, that I have them on. And I told her, it's difficult for me because StreamYard does not work well with me. I don't know why. It has never really worked well with this computer. We've tried. We used it for 5 years. It was excellent at the beginning, but as they started implementing more stuff into the StreamYard, it started degrading the image and the audio, and it got to the point where my audio wasn't working right, which I think it has a lot to do with its communication with an Apple product. Apple product, guys, I'm telling you, please don't fall for the Apple. I know a lot of you guys have Apple phones and stuff like that. They give them away for free to sign up and keep you under contract with whatever phone company you are on. I just want to let you know, there's a reason why they keep giving us Apple phones. Of all the phones to give us, it's Apple phones. Why? Because it's a freaking racket. You can't use your shit. It's hard to find anything compatible with it. It's everything that you have to pay for everything. On Android, guys, do you know how much money, if you are spending money on apps and you have an iPhone, you are wasting your money, because the majority of the apps that you're using, that you're paying for, don't cost you anything on an Android phone. The Android cameras are so much better, literally so night and day better than an Apple phone. I wish I would have known what I know now, and so I pass it around, because there's so many people that are like, "Oh, I got an Apple," and it's like, you don't realize what they're doing. They're robbing you blind. They're taking. You know why you have to pay for all your apps and you don't have to pay for them on Android? Because they charge these people to have the apps on their system. So you've driven up your own cost to use an Apple, because Apple wants to be paid. You want to know why Apple can hand you all these phones? Because they're getting paid by everything you're doing on that phone. Do you know every time you purchase something on your Apple phone, you're paying Apple 30%? You want to know why why costs are going through the roof? Apple is driving your costs through the roof by 30%. As soon as I have an opportunity to ditch this phone, I'm done. Look at that cute little, me little Delilah. But as soon as I have an opportunity, and I am going to have an opportunity to go back to Samsung. The one bad thing about Samsung, just like what we did with our Samsung Galaxy, dropped it one time, and now we have to have the full screen replaced. That's the bad part about Android. And it's the worst part about Android. And if they could have the durability of an Apple phone and an Android, they would have their perfect phone. They would have their perfect phone. Because Apple, you have to buy all Apple products for it to work seamlessly with. You have to have the Apple computer, the Apple tablet, the Apple earbuds, the Apple. But you know what? With all that Apple, have you noticed that you can buy regular earbuds for $30, but if you buy Apple earbuds, you're paying $249? They're driving up your cost. And for everybody that I've talked to that's on my show, you guys tell me the one thing you guys can't handle right now is more expense. So if you can't handle more expense, why are you on Apple products that are driving your costs through the roof? And you guys don't even realize you're probably paying an extra $50 or $60 a month more than people on Android. I'm just saying. Don't know what to tell you. We have a despicable case out of Tennessee, and I never understood this case. This is the case of Austin Drummond. Austin Drummond has been in prison since, I think he was in and out of juvenile detention since he was 12 years old. He finally went to prison on a double-digit stint, I think 10 or 15-year stint at 15. I just want to put that, he's a bad kid. And his parents enabled him. I believe his parents were drug addicts and party animals and rock and roll people and people that were in the bars and floozies and stuff like that. Yeah, his mom and dad stayed together all these years, and they, you know, in the grand scheme of things, when you have mom and dad together, usually your kids turn out pretty good if you have a mom and dad in your household that are your real mom and dad. You typically, even if they have their own problems, the kids typically turn out fairly well with a mom and father in their household. They're real mom and dad. So for them, for a mom and dad to have all of this problems within their household, for a child at 12 years old being out at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning to get in mischief and burglarize things, you're talking about parents that are completely out of control and are not controlling their young children. They don't care about their children. If the children want to go out, they can go out. They probably were feeding their child alcohol at a young age. I almost guarantee it. I almost know the type of parent. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I know the parents. I know the parents. And at this juncture, he ended up going and doing a stint. I think it was a dime at the age of 15 or 16 years old. Well, while he was in that jail, he ended up dating some of the workers at the jail. He was able to have a TV. He was able to have on-demand television. He was able to have meals brought into the facility. He was able to order anything he wanted and have it delivered to him in that facility, including a handgun, cell phones, TVs, internet, on-demand TV. It's just insanity. And so while he was in there, everybody knew this. It was, well, I mean, like, you should have seen his room looked like a commissary unit. He had so much shit in his room that people were coming to him to buy shit instead of commissary. That's how obvious this was. Yet they never stopped it at that jail. And he got a firearm brought into him, into the jail, into the prison. An inmate was able to get a firearm into the jail, into the prison. So he's an inmate with a firearm. I just want to put that into perspective. Been in jail since he was a young teen. He's living this thug lifestyle inside the jail, like he runs the jail. Like he's the kingpin of the jail. That's how he's running his business. And he almost kills a guy in jail with that gun. And what do? They release him from jail. A kid that has been in prison since he was a teenager. He doesn't know how to live his lifestyle. Can't even do prison. He's acting like prison is the playground of children. He's acting like a kingpin up there with all this commissary, TVs, on-demand movies, all these cell phones, and a pistol in his jail cell. They charge him with attempted murder, and then they release him. And he's waiting outside the jail. Now, mind you, he hasn't been outside of jail since he was a teenager. And he gets the not the warden, the what do they call them? The jail, what are the people that work at the jail called? They're called, I mean, they're sheriffs, but they're called something else. They're sheriff's deputies, but their actual title at the jail is something else. I can't remember what they're called. Let me see if somebody will come up with it. It's going to be about 20 seconds. Trustee? No, that's the trustee is actually the inmate that goes up the ranks and becomes a trustee. And they get a little more privileges than the rest of the inmates do. No, I'm talking about the actual officer. They're called, no, trustees are not the warden, guard. Yeah, we're kind of getting close, but that's not the word I'm looking for. It's not the word I'm looking for. Prison guard, yeah, but not the word I'm looking for, but it is the prison guard. They call it something else. Correction officer, thank you. Correction officer, that's it, correction officer. Thank you, Daily Watcher. Correction officer. So the correction officer that is assigned to his unit is a female. Well, the victims that he murdered, the quadruple homicide, was his pregnant girlfriend. Again, the correction officer that was in his ward, him and her baby. She quit work as a correction officer, and she was pregnant. So it sounds like they were bopping. So not only is he living like a kingpin behind jail, being able to have drugs, alcohol, on-demand TV in his room. He had an actual TV and a PlayStation in his cage. Very noticeable. Like, there's not a correction officer that can walk past his unit and not see it. And a firearm. Multiple phones, and they let him out of prison while there was an attempted murder charge over his head. So that correction officer's sister, her niece, her nephew, and her niece's boyfriend were his victims. He murdered them. He murdered his baby's mama's family. That's what he did. His girlfriend's niece and her boyfriend's baby was unharmed. He threw the car seat out in somebody's front yard. The baby was still alive. And they watched him do it. So now we're going to come around and find a little more about, that's kind of the history. He went on the run, kind of like this lady in the panhandle of Florida. He went on the run. His friends were arrested before he was arrested. They were arrested for aiding him after the fact, some being completely involved in the crime at the time by being his driver to the crime and a driver to pick him up and stuff like that. They were well aware that these 4 victims were deceased with bullet holes in their head, and they still chose to help this man. And he was part of this gang. He was part of a gang. So, oops, I got open that. So let's go ahead and get this started.
Trial right now for a different crime. And today, Austin Drummond testified. He is charged with attempted first-degree murder for a stabbing that happened in prison in 2013. Drummond claims he was protecting himself. Another inmate grabbed him on the staircase and demanded he give him money. Drummond went back to his cell and watched that inmate. He saw another inmate give him something, which he believed to be a knife. That is when he went back out to where that inmate was, and the fight started.
And I want to let you guys know, I know that there's a gun, or a knife involved. He had a gun. I want to make sure you guys understand. If you guys need to do fact check, you can do Austin Drummond common gun in prison, and you'll read the article. He had a firearm.
At no time did I ever want to kill Timothy Singleton. I only wanted to prevent myself being set up. I was protecting myself.
By trying to kill him?
No, by using force necessary to stop him from attacking me.
Well, what was your intent with that knife?
To prevent him from stabbing me.
By doing what?
That knife wasn't capable of killing anyone.
The state already rested its case after calling 2 witnesses, including a prison nurse who testified that victim was stabbed 17 times. Drummond and his co-defendant are on trial together. The defense has already asked for them to be acquitted.
So that's who he is. That's who he is. Jury deliberated after 2 days after Drummond's 2023. He should have never been out of jail to murder these other people. And so we're learning the jury is out deliberating after a second day of the attempted murder charge. Drummond appearing before the judge in Carroll County on Friday to face charges of attempted murder and possession of contraband in a penal facility. The contraband was the firearm, by the way. Lake County Grand Jury indicted Drummond in November 2024 for his role in the August 2023 incident, which he and an alleged accomplice, Andre Bernard Brown, were accused of unlawfully and intentionally, premeditatedly, and deliberately attempting to kill another man, Timothy Singleton. Drummond was also indicted for possession of contraband for unlawful and unknowingly possession of a weapon in the Northwest Correctional during the same point, according to the court documents. On the second day of trial, the jury heard additional testimony from the nurse who assessed and treated Singleton's injury, as well as 2 investigators with the Tennessee Department of Corrections Officer Investigation and Conduct. Nurse Dave Mathis testified his assessment of Singleton's condition based on his personal observations. Investigators Commons then testified about his role in the case. Commons said he was assigned to investigate the incident after joining OIC in June 2024. According to his testimony, the investigation was delayed because of the shortage of investigators at the time. In Tennessee, no. Wouldn't believe that there's a shortage in investigators. Wouldn't believe that. Deliberation began for the murder suspect, Drummond, over prison fight. We're hearing that he was ultimately convicted of this particular case. According to the Real Me Too, he was found guilty.
Right now, a jury is deliberating the fate of Austin Drummond in a prison attack that happened 2 years before he was accused of committing mass murder. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the News at 6. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Drummond and his co-defendant, Andre Brown, are accused of attempted murder in the stabbing and beating of a fellow inmate, but his attorneys have claimed self-defense. WREG's Raven Copeland joins us now live from the Carroll County Courthouse. And Raven, break down today's arguments for us, if you would.
Well, Greg and Stephanie, in closing arguments, District Attorney Danny Goodman said that the state's proven that both Austin Drummond and Andre Brown attempted to kill Timothy Singleton on August 29, 2023. The state also argued that Singleton suffered 17 stab wounds and that both defendants continued to attack him with a knife even after guards arrived. Now, the prosecution also argued that Drummond and Brown participated in what they call a premeditated attack. But the defense disagrees, arguing that the state has failed to prove that the defendants intended to kill Singleton.
You should conclude that the state has not proved beyond reasonable doubt that Austin did not act in self-defense because he had nowhere to retreat.
Yeah, well, I just watched the video, and he looked like he was not trying to retreat. He was actually going toward the guy in a violent motion. So there is that in the mod squad here. What is this? This is not it. What is that? I'm looking. I put it in my chat. What am I looking at here? Karen, what am I looking at here? This doesn't look like Austin. I can't put my glasses on. I can't read the damn print. Dramatic rescue from Jacksonville motel. 13-year-old girl found safe. What is this? What is this? Did you put the wrong thing in the chat? The real Me Too. Never mind. I thought it was related to Austin. We'll get back to it. I'll find out what it is. It's the verdict. No, it's not. This is Jacksonville. It's sending me Jacksonville. You sent me the wrong thing. You said Mod Chat. I went into Mod Chat, and that's what I had in Mod Chat. This is from Friday 11/07, but it's not. It's Jacksonville Sheriff's Department. Click on the it's this. Is this the one up here? Oh, that's a different one. You're looking at the wrong one. Well, okay. Okay. I think I found it. It's not gonna... Okay. Share... Is it gonna let me pull it up on my screen? Let's see if I can get it to my screen. Okay, let's pause it. Let's try this again. Share. I'll be able to go on my screen. Yes, there we go. Okay, I got it. Okay. Yeah, well, you didn't tell me that you sent something else to the mod chat. So when you told me that you sent it to the mod chat, I went to the very next. Good gracious, stop! Can I not stop this? So whenever I went in there, I went into the very first link that was there, and it was about Jacksonville. So next time you have something in there, just let me know that there's a couple things in there, because I was looking at the wrong one. No worries, we got it. Here it is. Here it is, folks. Is the volume up on this? Volume is not. I think we got this. Is this it? Yeah, here we go. Here's the verdict.
Anymore. Let's receive it, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Crow?
Thank you.
You're the foreperson of the jury?
Yes, sir.
Has the jury reached a verdict, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And have you handed the signed verdict forms to the officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your service there. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm going to read the verdict, and there's not to be any reaction in the courtroom. State of Tennessee versus Austin Drummond, case number 26, CR 87, jury verdict, count 1, guilty of attempted voluntary manslaughter. Jury verdict, count 2, guilty of possession of contraband in a penal facility. State of Tennessee versus Andre Bernard Brown, jury verdict, count 1, guilty of facilitation of attempted voluntary manslaughter. Count 2, not guilty. I'm going to ask each of you, I need to look at each one of you and get the affirmative. Sir, is that your verdict? Yes. All cases? Yes. Ma'am, those your verdicts? Ma'am, those your verdicts? Ma'am? Ms. Crow? Sir? Yes. Ma'am, those your verdicts? Ma'am? Yes, sir. Ma'am? Ma'am? Each juror has answered in the affirmative that this represents their verdict. Is there anything else before we discharge the jury?
I was thinking the same thing. I do not like his haircut. I don't know what type of haircut this is, but it does not make him look innocent. It makes him look like a goof. He needs a better haircut.
I'm sorry, anything before we discharge the jury? I'm sorry, no. Sorry. Mr. Foreman, no. Judge Warren, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You have my gratitude, my respect, and appreciate your service.
Okay, so we heard his his verdict for the attempted murder charge. Now, he still has trial for quadruple homicide. One of his victims was just a teenager. Shot in his head. This is a savaged animal. That Three Stooge, don't let that Three Stooge haircut fool you. He is a savaged animal, and he's been a savaged animal since he was a kid. And you know what? At the end of the day, when you have a child that's 12 years old acting like this is the parents. There's nobody that has anybody to blame for themselves in this situation than the frickin' parents. This kid has been in prison since he was a teenager. Prison. Not jail, not juvenile detention, prison since he was a teenager. How can a parent not know where their 12-year-old child is? Drummond, mommy, and daddy, you guys are some pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. I hope those drugs, that sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle was worth your son. You dumb people. You guys are dumb. Dumb. Oh, Betty, you got it. No. I looked into the family. Again, I do the research here. You don't see me attacking every single family for having their children in situations like this. You didn't see me going after Stephen Stern's mommy and daddy, did you? But this man's freaking mommy and daddy? You bet your ass. I'm going to drag them. I'm going to throw a bus. When the trial comes, don't expect me to hold back when it comes to his mommy and daddy. Yeah, they're losing a son, but they're used to it, right? They haven't had parental responsibility for this kid since he was 12 years old, have they? You pieces of shit. This is what piece of shit parents do to their children. This is it, right here. Right here. His daddy wanted to be a rock star. His daddy wanted to be in all the drugs and partying, and they wanted to drink and have a good time. Well, how's that good time now? And I bet you this whole time they're not blaming themselves. Well, by God, this is the Bullhorn Betty channel, and we look at how these things even get this to this point. I want to go to this trial. It's in Tennessee. We could do it. It's not that far. It's a day trip. I'll go to this trial. When the trial's ready, I'll go to it. I'll at least cover it, from the ground floor, from day one. I might need to send you in while I keep the people entertained outside. We'll have to figure out how to do all that. But yeah, I'll be willing to do that. I'll be willing to bring the equipment, even the computers and everything. We got pop-up tents. We got tables. We got everything that we need to run a production from. We even have generators. I mean, I've got everything I need to run this show from a courthouse. So, I mean, in all fairness, the only thing we're missing is our if this was going to trial, I would pay for the Starlink. I'd get the Starlink and the best service that they had, the $165 a month stuff to cover this trial here. This is going to be a big trial, and it's a sad trial. I mean, a little baby girl will never get to know who her parents truly are. And that's truly sad. Now, they weren't living the best lifestyle. None of them were. I'm not going to lie about that, but they didn't deserve to die. They didn't do anything I didn't do when I was in my 20s. I can tell you that. I didn't deserve to die. They don't deserve to die, But maybe we will go to this trial. I'm sure there's so much stuff going on in Tennessee. We could go to this trial and cover other cases while we're in Tennessee, because there's Summer Wells, Sebastian Rogers, Layla Santinello. Like, we could go up there and stay a freaking month and still not be done with the work after a month in Tennessee. Guys, Tennessee it's bad. It's bad in Tennessee. It really is. It really, really, really is. So you nailed it on the parenting. I know I did, because I know his parents. I mean, I don't know them personally, but I've researched them enough that I know them. And there is nobody in this whole story that I blame for this situation than the mom and dad. Period. Now, anything after that, is on their son, but by that time the son was already corrupted. Right? Seeing mom and dad always partying and drunk and falling over in his younger years. They're pieces of shit. They're pieces of shit. Two big pieces of shit that came together and procreated, and now they have a piece of shit that likes to murder people. And had they, would he have turned out like this if they were good, wholesome parents? To be honest with you, I don't think he would have. Because I don't think he would have been in prison at 15 years old. Prison at 15 years old. You know who's usually in prison at 15 years old? The kids that are straight out of, the Skid Row. Where the parents are all so messed up on drugs and alcohol that they're literally on the streets selling every little piece of them that they got to get their next fix. Those kids usually wind up in prison at 15 years old. When you have a mommy and daddy that don't live life like that have a house and everything like that, it shows you how much of a big piece of shit his parents were. They ruined their son. They've got no one to blame but themselves. And they still don't even blame themselves for this situation at all. They take no responsibility whatsoever. I want to hear Austin's father say something. I knew as soon as I saw them and how they were acting, I knew exactly what I was dealing with Austin's parents. If they weren't into the sex, drugs, and rock and roll when he was growing up, would he be this way? I don't think he would be. But they thought it was cute. Now they have a murderer. Way to go, mommy and daddy. Way to go. Your failures created this, and your apologies will never, ever, ever fix it. These 4 people's lives are gone. That baby will forever be changed because of you being such crappy parents. And it's not that. Listen, guys, I'm not saying that every person that's out there that has a child that goes down a wrong path, do they have crappy parents? That's not what I'm saying. But you know what you do? You have parents that show that they care. You have parents that try to get your child into some type of therapy, counseling, inpatient stuff. Good parents that don't know how to control their unruly child. They do those things. And guess what? There's resources in every single community out there for children. How do I know? Because I can tell you there's federal funding. And I can tell you I know that for a fact. I see the bills. But for this, when your parents don't even care where you are at 11 or 12 years old, and that's what we were dealing with here. He was 11, 12 years old and breaking into things. His parents had no control over this man. They were probably too drunk or too high to even give a shit. And they wonder why their son turned out this way. Well, it's a direct result of you. And I hope they hear this. I hope they hear this. Because I don't mince my words on this channel. And when I find these type of indicators that I found in this case, I know where the problem started. When I go into these cases, folks, I look at everything. I go down a lot of rabbit holes. I investigate all the people. Like when we started going down this, the first thing I looked at when I found out he was in prison at the age of 15 years old is I looked at the parents. And then they give him a party. As soon as he gets out, they give him a party and let all of his thug friends come over and hang out with him. What a great parent. We're celebrating you getting out of prison. Bitch, please. If my child was in prison, we ain't throwing you a freaking party. Bitch, you get your ass up off this couch and go find you a job. You've been laying around long enough. You've been laying around long enough. Get your ass up and go get a job. You want a party? We'll party whenever you make your first $1,000. These are the type of parents he has where they're throwing him a freaking dance party after he sprung out of prison after 15 years or 10 years or however long he was in jail for. And guess what? Some of the thugs that are in jail right now for helping him, aiding him when he murdered these 4 people. Yes. Yep, a drinking party. Sure was. Sure was. What great parents. Listen, folks, if your child is in prison, I'm glad you're happy to be with him, but to throw him a party? A party? Celebrating somebody doing terrible? And having another attempted homicide charge dangling over his head, and you think a party is the most appropriate thing to do for your son? Have you lost your mind? Please, folks, if you guys are part of the coffee club, please don't be part of these. Please don't be parents like that, like you hear me talk about here. Please, I love you all, but you guys know if I ever found out that you guys were doing some of the same stuff, I'd talk directly to you, and you probably would hate me forever, and I wouldn't care because you know what? I'd resonate with you. You may hate me, but I bet you'd be a better parent. I bet you'd be a better parent. It's just. You can't bake a flippin' cake. You know, you want to welcome them home. I get that. You want to have a family. You know, we haven't seen you in 10 years. Bring the whole family over and get acquainted. Yeah, I get that. No qualms here. But a party with all your friends coming over and getting jiggy with it? Yeah, we're not doing that because any friends you have ain't coming in my house. You've been in jail for 10, 15 years. I don't want any of your friends here. As a matter of fact, let's work on getting you some new friends. Let's work on getting you some new friends. So that's what we are having a party is totally redneck. Well, we coming home. But really? You're going to party with your son that just got out of prison? That's not redneck. That's reckless. I'm sorry. We party. We get down. I'm a redneck. There's no... I'm from Mayaca. We're Southern here, okay? I know what a redneck is. I'm a citified redneck because I wasn't actually living in the country, but my roots are country. We do have big parties, but we ain't partying for a 20-something after doing a dime piece from being 15 years old. We ain't doing that. We ain't celebrating criminal activity. We're going to celebrate you getting your job. We're going to celebrate you. We're going to have a family party. We'll have family come over and say hi. But this wasn't a family party. This was a all-out party. Booty dancing, alcohol, party. So no, I'm sorry. My redneck family is not throwing a party for somebody getting out of prison. Not a child. Yeah, you do a 2-year piece, for smacking the shit out of somebody. Well, yeah, we're gonna throw you a party for that. Why would we not? We were happy you slapped the shit out of them. Wait, great job, right? But this is not what we're dealing with here. We're not dealing with somebody, an adult going in. We're dealing with a child and his parents throwing him a party for getting out after doing a dime. I don't know. Maybe I've just gotten too stiff in my old age. Maybe I have. Maybe I've just got too set in my ways. I don't know, there's certain things. I think it's a time and a place and a charge type of thing. And I do get the whole party thing. It's not like we haven't had parties for our friends that got out of jail for doing stupid shit, but it's from doing stupid shit, and it's our adult friends. It's not a teenager that went into jail for a dime piece and came out a man, and we're going to throw him a freaking big party celebrating that he's a freaking man now just sprung out of jail. I think that type of history is what brought him to jail to begin with. You would think his parents would be like, listen, we ain't doing this no more. We ain't throwing you a party. Get your ass up. You've been laying around for too many damn years. Go get yourself a job. A job, get yourself some money, and we'll think about giving you a party. This is a child. This is his parents. At what point are the parents going to actually start parenting? That's my problem. We're not talking about buds, and a bud being sprung for a DUI or, like I said, getting in a bar fight, right? And smacking the shit out of somebody that should have been smacked the shit out of a long time ago, right? Those types of things. Yeah, it's not a celebration. Sorry, no party. I don't think it should be a party. I mean, you want to have you welcome home with family. That's one thing. You haven't, your family hasn't seen their family member in a decade. I get that, but an all-out party for your child? I don't know. Crazy. Let's reward the behavior. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That, you know, I mean, if it was like you and it was your friend being sprung, you're a friend. It's different. It's a time and place thing. But for parents to do this, parents, even after all this, his parents still haven't figured it out, and that's what's so insane. They supported it and enabled his behavior until 4 people lost their life. They have enabled this young man's behavior and gave him excuses for it in his entire freaking life. His entire freaking life. People don't believe parents can truly damage their children. This is a perfect story of how parents can truly damage their children. So, Austin Drummond, you know, I think he's going to, I hope he gets the death penalty for what he did. But I have no faith in Tennessee. I'm not going to say I do. I have no faith in Tennessee. I do not like the state of Tennessee anymore. I think that Tennessee is they're supposed to be this red state, but I've never seen a red state so pro-criminal before in my life and so anti-victim. But we have the state of Tennessee, and they are literally the worst out of all 50 states that I've had the pleasure of or displeasure of working in. Tennessee has been by far our biggest challenge. We've spent more time and more resource in trying to correct the atrocities in Tennessee than I put more effort in the last 5 years to make an impact on Tennessee more so than my own state. That's how bad Tennessee is when it comes to the kids. It has been literally a mission, an exhaustive mission of this channel in Tennessee. And it's like we take one step forward and 18 steps back. And I feel like we're further behind than we've ever been in the state of Tennessee. And I just want to help, you know, I just want to stop this. I want to stop the foolishness. I want to stop this crap like this right here. This kid, Austin Drummond, he had an attempted homicide dangling over his head when they released him out into the wild with all of us. I am so sick of being put in danger by the government I'm paying to keep me fucking safe. And that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. I'm so sick of being put in danger by my government that we are spending so much money on, billions of dollars every single year to keep us safe. Every single year to keep us safe. And we have bozos with black robes that put us in danger. I'm just done. I'm just done. I really am. I'm just done with the bullness, the crap. Anyways, guys, this is the end of my show. This is the end of my complaints. You know, what's going on with Mitch McConnell? Where are we in the Nancy Guthrie case? Glad that we got resolution and vindication on the ransom notes in Nancy Guthrie. We went over to Nolan Wells' case in Mississippi, and it's just a rough case there in Mississippi. I believe something is not being forthcoming. I believe somebody knows some more information than is being said. I believe somebody saw him die or know what truly did happen to him after his friends left. Somebody knows something in Nolan Wells. Do I believe the story that has been put out that he just washed ashore and nobody knows? I do not believe that. Somebody is not being forthcoming. I'm not going to say they're lying, but they're withholding. Somebody is withholding information that is critical to the Nolan Wells case. And I'm going to tell you guys, please do the right thing. Come forward. especially if you had nothing to do with it. I don't care if it's your friend or not. This is a human life that is gone and gone forever. You don't get to hide behind, I don't want to get involved. At this point, if you were out there and you know something, you're involved. It's time to just spill it out, put it all on the table. Let's figure out what the hell happened out there, and let's be done with this, because I don't believe this child was murdered. But I do believe somebody knows how he died. And that person needs to come up and needs to get some balls and backbones and tell this poor mother what happened to her blessed son. And if you are a mother, you need to be encouraging your children, because this could have been your son or your daughter. And you would want somebody to step up to the plate to tell you what the hell happened to your child. And if that's the way you are, by God, you need to be that way with your children if your children are involved in something like this. If this is what you would want for you if it was your child in a body bag and in the morgue, then you do it for another mother. That's what you do. That's what you do. So parents, please talk to your children if you know that they were out at Rock Island, and please, 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 any information. I don't believe he was murdered. You're not going to convince me that somebody murdered this boy and that somebody murdered this boy because he's black. You're not going to convince me of that. I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it. It's not going to be part of this show. But I do believe he died. I do believe he died because of something. Either being too drunk, where they were jumping off stuff, maybe he got hurt. Something like that happened. I believe something on those lines. Him falling off a boat as they were, gunning it, flipping off. When you're drunk, it's easy to do. Done it before in my life. Never hit my head. Never get caught by the propeller or anything like that. But just because it didn't happen to me like that doesn't mean it didn't happen to him like that. So the whole situation that's surrounding Nolan Wells doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't believe he was a victim of homicide. I am one of those people that do believe that this is an accident or medical or something in that area. But even with all of those, somebody saw it and somebody turned their back, and instead of getting help, they chose not to get involved. Those people need to come forward and tell this family what happened to this young man. That's what I hope. And then, of course, we just went over Austin Drummond. He's accused of killing 4 people and his child, his soon-to-be child. Maybe she's had the child. I think she's probably given birth at this point. But his child's aunt, cousins. Yeah, his aunt and cousins. He murdered him. He's literally having a baby with the victim's sister, with one of the victim's sisters. He's having a baby with, and he wiped out her whole family. And then that twisted bitch still wanted a relationship with Austin for the sake of that child. I can't tell you how I feel about you, lady. You don't want to see me. I don't care if you've got a baby or not. You do not want to see me. When you are so disrespectful to your own sister, nieces, and nephew, to carry on and to try to have a relationship with your child's father that murdered them, you need to be in that jail right next to him. Because how do I know you weren't the catalyst that got this done? How do I know you didn't hate your sister or your niece and nephew and asked him to do this for you? How do I know? Because anybody that murders my family, I don't care if I got their baby growing in me or not, I don't want nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with you. I hope you crawl under a rock and die if you lay one finger on my family. And I would absolutely protect my child from a monster like that. And this lady wanted to reach out to the courts to have communication with this animal. The courts denied it. Why? Because the courts are obviously smarter than the victim's sister. Stupid ass sister. She is not a victim. She's not going to be treated like a victim. That sister does not want any part of me, but we will not be speaking very well of that sister. I don't care if we see her face full of tears at this hearing. I don't care about her impact statement. I don't care. She brought this monster into these people's lives. And then when she needed to stand by her sister, her deceased sister, she runs to the man. Girl, you don't want a piece of Betty. I don't like your kind. I certainly don't like your kind. Certainly don't like your kind. So if you are any of these victims' families, and you know who I'm talking about, I can't remember what Rose's sister's name is, but it's the girl that's having a baby with Austin. That woman, you will never get the respect of this show. You'll never get the respect of me. I don't care if it was the worst decision you ever made and you know it. I don't want, pray to God. Pray to God. I don't know what else to tell you. But you will not be supported by this channel. When you disregard your own family so much to say and do something like that, to bring their murderer and want to have a relationship with their murderer, kick rocks. Boo. Who needs enemies when they have family like you? Who needs enemies when they have family like you? That's the real. We put it down here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. I say a lot of things people don't like, but I bring the real. So come back over here to this show. We'll be back later tonight to go over our evening show. We have an evening show. We don't know when it's going to be at this point. We were trying to do 9 o'clock, but that was entirely too late. It was making me entirely too tired. I can't do a 9 o'clock show. I tried. I can fall asleep, do probably a midnight show because I wake up around midnight, and I'm up for about an hour from midnight to 1 almost every single day. So we might do a midnight show. I might just pop on the cameras and bedhead Betty and just do a midnight show. Why not? But the evening show, 9 o'clock's too late for me. So I don't know when I'm going to do my show. I'm going to find a new slot, and that's going to be our slot moving forward. But it's not going to be that late. And we're going to start like our 8 to 10 slot, which is this slot here. We do an 8. Sometimes we'll do an early morning show, like around 3, 4, 5. And still do our 10 o'clock, and then we'll push this show back to 10 o'clock. But the evening show, I want to get more in the evening. There's a lot of breaking news throughout the day that I think it's probative to do an evening show. But I got to make sure that I'm lively. When I'm worn out at 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, yeah, we got this time. Yeah, and then the robber went like left, went down the road. Oh no. Next thing you know, I'm Brittany J. No, I'm just joking. That was terrible of me. That shouldn't have been me. I shouldn't be talking shit about. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to stop. Is it time for you to reclaim your time? Are you telling the audience, hey, this is my mommy. It's time for her to pay attention to me. Today's my play date. Not your play date. So my mommy's got to go with me. My mommy got to go with you. She hears it. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. And she knows that's the cue to start coming in here. She's a sweet little girl. Are you happy? Are you happy you have such a great mommy like me? Yes. We love her yawning. They say if a dog yawns, it means they're relaxed. So every morning when we get up and I play with her, she loves all over me. I love all over her first thing in the morning, but I give her like the massages. Until she yawns a couple times. And then she gets a treat, and that's kind of our morning stuff. So now she's telling me it's time for me to wrap up. So guys, I'm wrapping the show up. You have a great day. We'll be back later this evening, probably after 6 or 6:30, maybe a 7 or 8. We might do a 9 o'clock show tonight. Depends on when I get back from the play date with Delilah. I hope you guys have an amazing day. God bless you. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Hit that hype button for your girl Betty. And if you'd like to contribute or help us financially, please consider doing that. It's always appreciated but never expected. So rock it out with your coffee beans out. We will see you in the near future.